Okay. You got it at 27? You got it at 27?
Yeah. That was the first game of the season. So they won. Westside won 13-1.
Commissioner of the South Carolina High School League. On behalf of the League's member schools, I welcome you to the 2024 South Carolina High School League Football State Finals.
They played 15 games.
As we get ready for the state finals game, we remind all spectators that while the games are competitive, they are also educational experiences for all players and students. Let's continue to show respect and sportsmanship.
It says 13 and up.
Coach,
Yeah, they had a body shield.
and spectator throughout this contest and refrain from
They won 14 straight last year, and 13 now.
I want to send a special thank you to South Carolina State University for hosting the finals and to our many sponsors
I was
and
thinking
all who took
I
part
can
in
maybe look at
ensuring
it
the
right here.
success of the finals.
They won 13
Congratulations to all participating teams, and we hope that you have a wonderful
14-1
experience
was state
as you
championship.
cheer on your teams. Thank you.
Let me ask.
I just counted.
You got it? What do you got? 14?
They won 14 last year and 13 this year. 27. Yep, see, I just should have scrolled on up.
27.
Estimating that off the first game of the year last year. They won all this.
Great. Well, you can bring that up when we talk about it. I'm going to write that right here so we don't lose it.
And see, they couldn't have the other ones because
The South Florence Bruins in the title game for a third consecutive year. Familiar faces on the other side. The reigning champion Westside Rams. A renewal of the 4A championship game is next. The weekend of champions in the Palmetto State rolls on again. Familiar foes as they do it again 1 year later. Westside and South Florence for the 4A crown. With that, we do welcome you back. Something right about being under the lights on a Friday night, Toby Cates.
absolutely. Every player that has played football will always remember Friday nights, but tonight is very special because you're playing for a championship on Friday night.
Yeah, not every Friday night with the lights on is everything on the line. It is in this one. And these two teams we know, they just did this a year ago.
Absolutely. They played last year, and they came and followed a great game. One was victorious and got a victory, and is the reigning champ, and the other team is coming back to be the reigning champ this year.
Westside, the first title since the late 60s. They're trying to make it back-to-back. And for South Florence, they know the environment as well. Playmakers abound on the field. You're going to see a lot of guys on Friday night that expect to be playing on Saturdays. And then, of course, on Sundays, we know what Cutter Wood can do. He's already introduced to the state.
Hey, Cutter Wood is just an awesome quarterback. He's young. He's talented. He knows how to read the defense. And he's thrown for a lot of yards, 3,200 yards and 41 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. That's the biggest key, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, video game-like numbers, very limited on the miscues. He is quite the field general for the Rams of Westside, and they just keep the streak rolling. On the South Florence side, hey, here's a familiar name for you, a Sellers for South Florence. In this case, it's Jaden, and he's been Mr. Everything.
Yes, sir. He's just Mr. Purpose. You know, you can put him in the backfield. You can put him at receiver. You can see the numbers. He's rushed for 472 yards. But the thing is, he scored like 9, 10 touchdowns actually rushing the football with a total of 21 touchdowns altogether with receiving. So he's just an awesome threat anywhere on the field.
Those are a couple of the individual performers you will come to know a little better tonight. Now we turn our attention to what this one comes down to. That is our Ingles food for thought. It's your keys to the game. Let's start with Westside.
Westside, first they must establish the run. You know, that way the RPOs will be able to work and play action passes. And then they must win, the defense must win the first and the second down. That way they can put South Florence in a bad situation to throw the football all night long.
On the other side, how about South Florence?
They need to make Westside one-dimensional. I think they just need to maybe take away the pass and make them beat you with your run and see if they will make a mistake in the game. And also, on the offense side, they have to have manageable third downs. They have to put this situation where it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, where it's manageable so they can keep moving the chains and hopefully to give them a chance to win this ball game.
Well, he is the lifetime Gamecock captain. What a standout he was as both a high school and a college player here in the state. Toby Cates is with you. Jason Patterson, happy to have you alongside as we get set for Westside and South Florence. Hey, they were separated by just a couple of points a year ago. Who will wear the crown in 24?
When I was growing up, I was taught, if you make a promise, you keep it. And for 45 years, that's what we've been doing at A&I Fire and Water Restoration. From Wilmington to Florence, from Myrtle Beach to Charleston. When disaster has struck, we've made promises to tens of thousands of families to turn their houses to homes again. We take pride in keeping our promises. It's what we do. It's who we are.
A&I Fire and Water Restoration.
I'm Dr. Timothy Gregory with Coastal Wound Care. Are you living with a diabetic or chronic wound? A wound that won't heal can lead to serious problems, even amputation. At Coastal Wound Care, we provide the most up-to-date treatments, including negative pressure, compression therapies, and skin substitutes. As a physician-run private practice, we prioritize your needs, providing the time and attention you deserve. Our dedicated team is here for you. We offer next-day appointments, making your recovery as seamless as possible. Call Coastal Wound Care now and start healing.
Thank you so much
for putting your faith in us.
We are here because of you.
It really means a lot that you've trusted us over the years.
And we'll be here for you.
I've got to meet good, hardworking people that have become my clients, my friends.
Thank you to everyone that's let us help them and their families.
Thank you, Spartanburg.
Thank you, Columbia.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Rock Hill.
Healthy on the outside doesn't mean much if vaping has weakened you from the inside, because the chemicals in vapes don't just leave you short of breath. They damage your lungs on a cellular level, leaving even the fittest among us weak and vulnerable to viruses. So what starts as a vapor's cough can easily turn into pneumonia or something worse. Is vaping sabotaging you? Get the facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
A rematch of the absolute thriller these two teams gave us a season ago. Who can forget the 17-yard touchdown pass to Jamar Tank Boston with 15 seconds left? That unseated those champs, made Westside the champs. And now for a third straight year, South Florence is here, and the Rams are looking to make it back-to-back. For more on this matchup, let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team tonight. How's it going down there, Jack?
Hey, appreciate you guys for sending down. Here's the deal. The rivalry renewed. It felt like both of these coaches, talking with them before the game, both Coach Lane and Coach Marlowe, had a weird sneaking suspicion that they'd be back facing off against this foe. But for Coach Marlowe, so excited to have the young superstar, Jaden Sellers, 21 total touchdowns this year, taking his talents to play with yes, big brother, Lenoris up in Columbia at Williams-Brice. Beginning to make his own legacy here at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. So important for not only he, but his family. And for Westside, winners of 27 straight. That was marked in a state championship victory against here last year. But people forget, Florence, it was 29 straight before that record was broken. A rivalry renewed. A lot of mutual respect, but some distaste without question. Excited for a big one. I'm ready to run through a wall down here, boys. We'll send it back up to you guys.
Will it, in fact, be a I'll break your streak since you broke mine, or will we have a back-to-back title for Westside? You know, think about it, 29 games in a row. for South Florence going into that championship game last year, just 2 points shy at 34-32. And Westside, well, as you heard Jack say, they reeled off 27, going back to the very first game a season ago, the last time they lost after claiming that championship last season. Here comes a return across the 20 to the 25-yard line as the initial touch of the football goes to Bomar. And, you know, Toby, this is a team, 34-32 was the final. We said it. They surged from behind, got the job done with 15 seconds left, erasing a 32-20 fourth quarter deficit in that contest. One of the big reasons filling up your screen right now. What a season it has been yet again for Cutter Woods.
Yeah, Cutter Woods had a great season. Coach Lane puts a lot of responsibility on him to make the reads and do everything he needs to do as quarterback to keep his team safe. Like I said, seen before, only 2 interceptions for the attempts that he's thrown is just remarkable.
Yeah, 32-50 the yardage and 41 touchdowns for Woods. He has a number of playmakers to turn to as well when it comes to this receiving group. First target going to go in the direction of Armani Weaver, and here's a look at the rest of the cast of characters on the offensive side of the ball. Our Stewart Law Office's starting lineup for Westside. Give me an individual or two you're watching, Toby.
I think I'm going to watch Richardson. The running back, he's rushed for 1,254 yards and a total of 89 touchdowns. I'm definitely has my eyes on him. Damari Dawkins also, too. This is another receiver that's in the slot. When you start double teaming or start putting a lot of coverage on Weaver and Bomar, those guys that's going to make some of the key and clutch plays.
Well, you talk about the work of the back. Here's a first glance at what may be provided on the offensive side of the ball by Richardson. He's covered up pretty nicely by that defense for South Florence on cue as we take a look at the defensive alignment for the Bruins.
Everybody know the big name, Amari Adams. He's the #1 player in the state of South Carolina. He's actually a Clemson commit. But Willie Kennedy, he has a bunch of tackles, like 108 tackles, all that core, Cameron Core. He has 85 tackles. So a lot of the linebackers here are very good and very active, and they bring a lot of pressure.
A little too tall on this delivery far side. Tried to work it back in the direction of Richardson. He had some real estate there, but the pass is incomplete. It's going to bring up a quick fourth down for the Rams of Westside. What's the value, Toby, of being in the championship environment for, in this case, a second straight year for Westside, a third straight year for South Florence?
I think both of them just showing basically pure dominance in the league that they are. They're in 4A football, and they're trying to establish something to prove that they are the best team. And to be the best team, you got to beat the best team.
Well, you wondered on fourth down, but when you have as a punter and as a punting option your quarterback, you'll see a little bit of this. He does boot it down to the other end of the field, and it is blown dead at the 18-yard line. There's a look at the head coach of the Westside Rams, what Brian Lane has done in his journey across the state of South Carolina, well documented, but he has Westside rolling right now.
Absolutely. Everybody loves Coach Lane. He's a great person. And he loves these kids, and the community love him, and he's going to do everything he can, everything for the kids. It's just not about X's and O's with him. His love for the game is okay, but his love for his kids are even more.
Well, you saw that as they celebrated a championship on this field a season ago. Can they replicate that feat? Here's the offensive look for a first time at the group from South Florence. That was Gilbert, one of the two backs you will see, alongside the quarterback Messiah Jackson. Who else do you keep an eye on in this lineup?
Of course, we got Jaden Sellers, but Valerie, I got my eyes on him. He's just a tough receiver with 700 and some odd yards. Gilbert is definitely the one. But Messiah Jackson, the quarterback, he is going to be the key. He actually can throw the football. He's accounted for 36 touchdowns. So they got a lot of guys that scored a bunch of touchdowns, double-digit touchdowns. That's going to be to keep an eye on. It's not just one particular player. There's a lot of players that's out here going to do a great job.
That group working together to move the chains. Here's the Westside crew trying to slow the offensive attack.
Absolutely. Westside has a great defense also. They're only giving up 205 points this year. We're looking at Malachi Peterson, the linebacker, Don Paul also. In the DB in the secondary, you got Bomar and Weaver playing both the corners. So you're looking for basically a shutdown against superstar versus superstar out here.
Well, a reminder, one moment can change your life. This is certainly a lifetime moment for these players, and it's brought to you by the group that has been fighting for the rights of those in their care for over 25 years. Stewart Law Offices presenting our starting lineups for this 4A championship game. There's a look at Messiah Jackson. that look is a little bit familiar, right?
Yeah,
when you look into those Bruins colors and you see the inside of the helmet, that'll be a little bit of a nod to what we've seen in those colors before.
Absolutely, and if he played just like he played, he has a great career ahead of him.
Yeah, pretty good role model to follow, that much is sure. One of the big targets, number 17. We showed him to you in the open, Jaden Sellers. You'll no doubt hear from him before the night is done, the younger brother of the South Carolina QB. There's Trey Leonard. You saw Gilbert. You see Leonard now. They make quite a combo. Both of them were injured early in the season. It wasn't until week 5 that Gilbert got going. Leonard, who you saw there, didn't make his real emergence until week 6. But what did Drew Marlowe tell us? That's allowed these two backs to be fresh, which has been a benefit they didn't really think of when they didn't have them early on.
Absolutely. When you got two backs that's rushed for both of them nearly 1,000 yards, and both of them have scored basically 9 touchdowns, double-digit touchdowns. That's just, a great asset to have. When you got players like that that can come in and just double punch, and there's no animosity about it. They all on one team. They want to keep on winning. So that's a great thing to have, is a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, and he said usually you have a back that's had a couple of 100 touches. We got a couple of guys with 100 touches apiece, and they're a little more fresh maybe than they are at this time of year generally. There is the 5th-year head coach of the Bruins. Think about it. 5 years he's been able to keep this staff together, and 3 of those 5 years, including the last 3, he's been in a state championship opportunity.
That's just an amazing feat. That's what you want to do, is try to get to 1 state championship, and he's already in 5 years had 3 runs at a state championship. So he just showed that the great thing that he has going on in South Florence.
Francis Marion grad, so he knows the Florence area very well, understands the community. Boy, have they worked themselves in behind his Bruins, and came over, got the job after some time at Sumter. He's seen South Carolina football at every level, and he talked about how his team this year, marked by those early 2 games they played. You look at them in 3 losses, it's a little bit deceptive. Tell you why after this 3rd down play. Well, we may get to tell you why now. Here's a flag. Going to be a false start, and it's going to back the Bruins up a bit. Here's the call.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
2 of those losses for his team, he reminded us, came in the first 2 games of the year. He played Northwestern and Somerville. Also scrimmage Sumter. This team was battle-tested early. That's 2 of the 3 losses against 2 teams that are playing here. Championship weekend, a class up from 4A.
Absolutely. That's what you do. You schedule teams, better competition. It's really not about your overall record of being 15-0. The only thing you want is a state championship at the end. They want to play the best and go against some of the best, so that way that they know they're going to be battle-tested at the end of the year, and that's where you want to be the best, playing the best football at the end of the year.
Speaking of the best, guess what? First look right there at Sellers. The term they used, he is our gadget guy. Does a little bit of everything. 4-year starter. You're talking 56 games now. Did have the torn ACL, so he hasn't started each one of those, but he's got 56 games under his belt as a part of this team. And if the name sounds familiar, it should. You may know his older brother, Lenora Sellers, who is the quarterback of the Gamecocks, for those of you just finding us as we get rolling here. He and his crew, under the direction of quarterback Messiah Jackson, who is the every play quarterback, even though Sellers will play quarterback, will play wide receiver, will work out of the backfield, will be in the defensive secondary. It is Messiah Jackson who's at the quarterback position, and he and his crew are going to face a critical 4th down in the early stages when you return to the South Carolina State Championships after the break.
There was a time when a person's word was enough. A time when a handshake meant something and integrity really mattered. For nearly 70 years, the values of Farm Bureau Insurance have been rooted in hard work, faith, and family. In that time, we've seen the world change in many ways. What hasn't wavered is Farm Bureau Insurance's commitment to protect our customers' way of life and serve the communities in which they live when they need us most. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
Uh-oh. You just never know on a night like this. The lights are bright, yes, and that brightest light of all, reminding us how wild it can get on a South Carolina Friday night. Well, however the first half goes, you'll be able to see all the major images as part of our Coastal Wound Care halftime report coming up for you in just a bit. 4th down, tone-setting moment for the Bruins on their first touch of the football game. Just above that South Carolina State logo here in Orangeburg. They will give off to Gilbert, and he is close to the marker. Now the linemen are all trying to sell it. And this is going to all depend upon the spot. Westside says they turned it aside. And the Bruins of the belief that the drive is going to continue. This may require a measurement. About as close as it gets, Toby.
As close as it gets. It's very tight, but like from here, but we're not on the field. We don't have the field view, but it looks like he may have this first down by probably a half an inch.
Now the initial push there, they're hoping is enough. I'm going to tell you what, he's going to end up being a link short. How about that? Talk about as close as it gets. Westside gets off the field. A turnover on downs at midfield. Discussed it as a tone-setting moment. The tone set right now by Coach Lane and company.
Absolutely, but just watching this game now, it reminded me of last year's game. They jumped off sides and pushed them back a little bit further for them to have to get a first down, and they had to end up punting last year, and Westside took the ball right down the field and scored with 15 seconds on the game. So it's kind of playing out, kind of sort of at the beginning of the game like it played out at the end of last year's game.
That's a great point. And I was going to ask you, what were your takeaways from the game within the game that we saw a year ago, that thriller that ended up when the dust settled on it, a 2-point separation at 34-32. That's something to think about. Let's see what happens on this first down play. We'll dive into that a little deeper if time allows. Here's the snap getting set to be taken by Cutter Woods, and he's going to hand this off. And a second burst going to mean a first down across the 40-yard line. That's a Will Lou Gray movement of the chains. What were your takeaways from the game within the game a year ago?
Basically, offense here, especially within this run right here, he just broke tackles, and that's kind of what they did last year. They want to establish the run, come up and do certain things, so that way their play action pass, and certain things can happen, big plays can happen for you. Penalties, I think, hurt South Florence and put them in situations where they basically had 3rd and long and 3rd and 5 situations and giving up the big play.
Speaking of big plays, here's one, and Westside is on the board. A long touchdown toss. Cutter Woods showing off the arm strength, and it's Bomar the target. He worked his way right under the defender and turned it into a Rush's touchdown.
Yes, it's just a great throw to give your best receiver a chance to go get the ball. And initially he had beat the defensive back off his press release or whatever, and as soon as he got on the field, he just threw the ball. He knew where the ball was, so he just used him as a shield and just caught the ball.
That's a half a field covered in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a big play offense, a big strike offense. They averaging their 48 points a game, so a lot of players can score
Extra
a bunch of
point
points.
is true. You talk about scoring a bunch of points. Here the first of them on either side. A long touchdown toss. The connection between Woods and Bomar, and the defending champs are on the board.
Absolute Total Care. Total health care for you and your family. Total peace of mind and well-being. Total assurance plan coverage. Totally affordable healthcare solutions for everyone. Absolute Total Care is totally South Carolina. Totally you.
Our health insurance is designed to improve the lives of individuals and families of South Carolina. At Absolute Total Care, we mean it when we say, one plan, always covered.
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorites.
My kid heard that solo.
You saying I did?
Yeah.
Upper State champions Westside working their way down from the Electric City, that Anderson County crew. Pretty electric on that toss. A long touchdown pass from Cutter Woods. Again, they covered half the field in an instant and take a 7-0 advantage. Pretty good group making the trip down from Westside as well.
Definitely full over there. People from Anderson come down here to support their team. It's just great to see communities and great to see people that travel, for their team, and see a great team and show the support.
Well, and you heard Coach Brian Lane talk so much about the excitement level amongst the fan base and in the community. Of course, you roll off 27 in a row. That'll create a great deal of excitement.
Absolutely. You get a bunch of new fans. Even come from maybe Old Burns or down the street from Duncan to Spartanburg. Just step in every now and then and check you out.
You're a golf guy. There's a chip shot kickoff from the other side of the 50, and it's going to mean a touchback when all is said and done.
Absolutely.
2 plays, 52 yards to be specific. And the 38-yard connection with Bomar, something Westside would like to see a whole lot more of tonight.
Absolutely. If it's not him, it's going to be somebody else. That's the difference. They have a lot of weapons. So when the defense starts shifting over top for Bomar, they'll go up underneath with the other receivers. And it's just hard to stop, 4 different receivers and a running back who can catch the ball out the backfield, too. So they got a great plan.
I thought you made a great point when we were in our preparation. You said really South Florence wants to force Westside to run the ball, avoid what you just saw there to some degree. And for Westside, they want to force South Florence to throw the ball. Whichever team can make the other one-dimensional in many ways, that may go a long way to determining the outcome here. Open field tackling will help as well. Swarming to the football and the job done by Jamison, Wilson, and company on the scene.
It's just great. They play action, but they try to sneak Sellers out in the backfield, but they wasn't going for it. He read his keys instead of looking in the backfield. His eyes was not dirty, and he just read his keys and told the coach told him to do, and he just stayed at home and made a great play.
There's the vitals on one of the seniors amongst this group, playing in the state championship environment one more time, trying to close his career with success. On the ground, it stays across the 20 to the 22-yard line. Wilson there again. This time he was joined by Livingston as well in an effort to make the stop.
Jason, as the game goes, this is one of the keys that we talk about, not getting third and long situations. They need to be manageable. Third down, that's one of the keys of the games that they were trying to get to. So I think this is in Westside's favor to get them in the situation that they have to throw the football. So, as the game goes, we'll keep paying attention to see how many third and long situations that they have.
This is a third down. They need 8. Need to get across the 30-yard line after the touchback started this drive. Looking for something out on the far side, and flags are going to come in here as Sellers was knocked to the ground. No way he could get to the football from a seated position, but it seems there was a reason that was the case, Toby.
Absolutely. So when you got a player like Sellers, definitely they're going to try to throw the ball and get the ball to him. So the defense kind of knew that, so they played him off. But he's just a great athlete, and it's just hard to stop him.
Defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Jaden Sellers, who's going to line up everywhere. Who can forget his exploits? Scored in just about every variety you can, and helping elevate this team to the championship environment with their major comeback in the semifinals. You can see an injured Rams that is being pulled off the field there. Looked like perhaps
Bomar.
Did that look like Bomar there?
Yeah.
I wanted to double check myself before I said it out loud, but it initially did at first glance look like Bomar was getting some assistance there. He caught the touchdown pass a moment ago. Stays with South Florence. First down and across the 40 to the 44-yard line. It's going to be Gilbert. We talked about Gilbert, who was hurt early on in the season, didn't really get going until week 5. Leonard was hurt in the first game, and he's not the only one. This is a group that lost their starting tailback on just the second play of the year. Then these two guys had to work into game 5 and 6 before they were in action. But we mentioned that maybe conserve some energy they may need for a championship environment. It really is. We talk about a 1-2 tandem back situation on a lot of teams. With Gilbert and Leonard, it's the definition of it. Gilbert and Leonard do just what they need to do to complement one another.
Absolutely, but up front is the problem. We've got to have Granger, Claren, King, Field, and Mason. Those are the guys that makes it work. When you have those guys, those 5 linemen, not saying you can put anybody back there, but what happens is you're still going to be able to move the power. But when you have Giller and Leonard, with the size that they have and the speed and quickness that they have, they can make home run plays very quick.
With that big physical line, what was the statement the coaches made to us? Wear them down 4 yards at a time, and then hope you can bust a big one. That's the work of those guys in the trenches up front. They work it to the tune of another first down. Move the chains. Will a Will Lou Gray opportunity school first down at the 3-minute mark opening quarter. They're making space now, and those backs are coming to life into Westside territory. This carry handled by Trey Leonard.
Absolutely. Just come back. It's just basically just a power play. He steps up and he blocks the linebacker, a seal and a kick out with 55, and the backs just run hard, just looking for a crease.
To the major comeback to get this South Florence team here. They batted their eyes good, and they were down 20-0 in the lower state title game before surging from behind. The conversation about their resiliency, the way they battled back, earning their spot here. One thing you notice from that is Westside takes a timeout here, giving us a chance to explore it a little more. The defense only allowed 1 touchdown in that lower state championship game for a South Florence team. A lot of difficulty with some turnovers offensively early on that had to battle back from a 20-0 deficit. They ripped a page out of Westside's playbook from the fourth quarter a year ago here in the state championship environment to surge from behind. So living large with the way things finished last week and rolling it over into the start of this one.
Absolutely. You know, that's just basically what they do. Both these teams are just, again, they're just well coached, and you know, they got a lot of pluses. They're good on defense, you know, and they're good on offense. So these are the teams that you can't just say, hey, this game is out of reach, because anybody can come back at any given time, and anybody can flip at any given time. So, I mean, you got 2 of the best teams in 4A football playing here for a reason. They've been playing here for 3 years and for 2 years consecutive. So that's just a marvel to the coaching staff and a marvel to these players who put in the work to be here on championship.
Not saying
Friday
there's
night.
going to be any separation at any point, but we cautioned those of you who may have wandered away from us when it was 32-20 in the fourth quarter last year that it ended up being a 34-32 showdown. You expect nothing less in this one. Here it comes near side, and there's plenty of white jerseys chasing Sellers, who has run out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Got to be about 5 yards from a first down. Now here's another look at this play.
It's just a nice jet sweep, and I think what they're trying to do is set up something. You know, you keep running Sellers, you threw passes to Sellers. I think now you need to use Sellers as a decoy, and that's what happened. Now Sellers is the blocker, and Levine is going down the sideline for a touchdown.
Well, he's going to keep the feet in bounds, it would seem, and we were watching to see, and the official says no. In fact, he did step out at the 18-yard line, but it's a big play nonetheless. And boy, take a look at Robinson all of a sudden, who finds a way to become the playmaker. You're right, Toby. You see so much focus on Sellers because he's coming at you from a number of different angles. Just like that, Malik Robinson sneaks on in behind the D.
That's it. I mean, you got big-time playmakers, and he just came in to show you what big-time playmaker he is by scoring a touchdown.
Back to Sellers after the work of Robinson. It is a quick strike and a rushes TD for South Florence. A long toss for Westside and a quick strike drive as well on the South Florence side of things. Take a look at this. All kind of room for Sellers. Once you get the football in his hands, he can do the rest.
Absolutely. But main thing that starts, he had blocking from his receivers. As a receiver, you can't just be out here and be a pass catcher. You have to do both. You have to block for your running backs. You have to block for your receivers on receiver screens because you want them blocked for you. And that's the only thing that you like about him. He was aggressive, come out, and he blocked for his teammate the play before, and his teammate came back and we did the favor and blocked for him, and he scored a touchdown.
Evan Howland's extra point is good, and Sellers has his first touchdown of the state championship environment. Remember, he has touchdowns in the punt return world, has touchdowns from the wide receiver position, out of the backfield, also the good work he does defensively, and the gadget guy, and that was the terminology used by the South Florence folks, as his first impact moment. He evens things up at 7 apiece, and we are started down a road in this 4A championship game that seems very familiar.
Absolutely. You know, we have flashbacks of last year's game, and, you know, but that's what we expected. You know, it's a heavyweight fight, you know, and they're going to play good football. You know, Westside is great at quick scoring, but South Florence is great at just slowing this game down, and the best way to keep your offense off the field is just we can continue to keep doing it, and they're doing the right things on first down. They get positive yards on first down, and that's moving the chains, and it's helping them score down and score a touchdown and tie this game up.
Westside return. Weaver some room across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Well, another look is worthwhile on this Jaden Sellers touchdown.
Like I said again, it's just great blocking and then just great moves. Once he gets in the open field, it's just hard to tackle this young man. He's just like his brother. He has a nose for the end zone.
And his brother, Lenore Sellers, led South Florence to the first Florence area championship in a while, and this school's inaugural with that win over Northwestern back in 22 of 57-30, the final score in that championship game. Final analysis of this drive, 8 plays, 80 yards on the Palmetto Pride scoring summary. It was an 18-yard touchdown for the younger of the Sellers we were discussing. Yeah, think about it. 57-30 over Northwestern for South Florence 2 years ago. Westside head-to-head in this one last season, and Westside rolling again through the skies. Well, if you thought 52 yards on a quick strike drive was something, how about this toss that is going to go for up over 70, and the Westside group reclaims the lead.
Well, that's what they do. Like I said, they have a very explosive offense. It's hard to stop a very explosive offense. He throws the ball to Mr. Evans, and he just catches the ball in space, uses his hands, and he just uses his speed to split the defenders and just outrun them to the end zone.
Well, one play right now upping another in terms of the Mark Brown Law Firm Play of the Game nominees. This one reminding you just how lethal Cutter Woods can be in an instant. Evans, as you said, the target of choice this time, as Westside takes the lead back as quickly as they saw South Florence pull up alongside. It is 14-7 Rams on the second long touchdown toss of the night.
As you can see, he just looked the safety off and threw it as underneath route. He just made the play. He split the defenders, and he just used his speed. You know, when you have guys that's 4 guys that's averaging almost 20 yards a catch, you can see why. You know, they're a big play team. They're a big play target. So I say again, South Florence going to have to do something, maybe a dime, a nickel package, or do something, or blitz off the edge so he don't have as much time so he can just sit back there and make these throws. Make him uncomfortable.
74 yards will up your average per catch as well. That was the extent of the drive on the single play necessary to Evans. I'm going to go back to something we were kind of alluding to a little bit earlier, and that is both these teams have been in the championship environment. For Westside, 2 straight years. For South Florence, 3 straight years. You don't see the jitters you sometimes get from some of the teams in the first quarter, in the early stages. These teams were settled in when they walked off the bus.
Absolutely, you know, and as soon as they stepped in the stadium, I mean, you could just see it. You know, it was about business. You know what I'm saying? This is not a vacation. You know, this is a business trip. And that's what they knew coming down the road. And that's what they came down this road to play for. They plan to take one back for a championship as a repeat, and the other one planning to come and take it and be the reigning champion.
Yeah, fan bases were down to business, too. You could see it in their eyes. They expected to be here again in 2024 on both sides. There's our low country crawl spaces kickoff. They'll solve your crawl space problems today. No problem scoring for these two teams, or tackling in space at times for that matter. That's a good look and a nice job covering it up as Lee is there, one of the seniors on the special teams. You know, special teams became a big issue in this game a year ago. That's one of the things Drew Marlowe reminded us in talking to him across the course of the week. He said, you know, there were some key plays in that one to let things slip away a little bit. There was a fumble on a kick return. There was a bad snap on a punt. There was a missed extra point, a couple of 2-point conversions that didn't go their way. And though he said, I'm not a guy that believes special teams is going to win you a championship, it can certainly lose you a championship, and that's an area of emphasis this year.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of teams you don't get much time, you know what I'm saying, to just emphasize on special teams, but a lot of great teams do. You know, they're going to find a way, especially when he's seen that it may have cost him a championship last year. So I guarantee his focus was on the smaller things, and that's what's going to win you a championship. It's not going to be all the biggest things. People know how to block. People know how to run, know how to catch, know how to throw. It's going to be the small things, you know what I'm saying, that's going to win championships, whether it's a turnover here or not protecting the ball or a misread or something like that. So it's always going to be the smaller things that's going to help you win or lose a championship.
And one of those for Westside there, the open field tackling and the special teams coverage. That's the reason we bring up the special teams conversation. Watch for that, as well as turnovers potentially, to swing this thing one way or the other. Just a minute 15 and ticking downward remaining in the opening period. Boy, when you're having this much fun with these two teams that come to the table with so many weapons, First quarter passes you by in an instant. Here comes the final minute of the first period.
It's just so exciting, on both sides of the ball. See these kids just get after it and just go hard and sticking to what they do. You know what I'm saying? South Florence is the team that's going to power and move and try to get 3-4 yards, you know what I'm saying, at a time and keep that offense off the field because they see how explosive it is. And Westside's trying to get their defense to get a stop so they can go up quicker and keep trying to score more and pull more and make South Florence do some things that they don't want to do.
Malachi Peterson, you saw on your screen just a minute ago on the west side. Defensive alignment. There's another good look in at Jaden Sellers. Ahead of the third down play. Third down and a long 2. It's going to be very close. It looks like from where the officials are running in, the initial progress for Zion Gilbert may be enough for a first down. Clock stops with 7 seconds remaining in the opening period. While they set this, it will be a movement of the chains.
Yes, like I'm saying right now, the way South Florence is playing, they're giving up some big plays, basic defensive, but offensive, their game plan, they are still in it. They feel, hey, we can drive this ball 80 yards down the field, and we can take all the time off the clock.
First period ends with a Will Lou Gray first down. Drive continues for South Florence on the other side. Familiar faces on both sides. There are no secrets between these two, and they're back at it for a second straight year, separated by just a score after 1.
I'm Dr. Timothy Gregory with Costa Wound Care. Are you living with a diabetic or chronic wound? A wound that won't heal can lead to serious problems, even amputation. At Costa Wound Care, we provide the most up-to-date treatments, including negative pressure, compression therapies, and skin substitutes. As a physician-run private practice, we prioritize your needs, providing the time and attention you deserve. Our dedicated team is here for you. We offer next-day appointments, making your recovery as seamless as possible. Call Costa Wound Care now and start healing.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a child 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, call us or visit willlougray.org.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 12 million participants in America who take part in high school sports or activities.
South Carolina's Tobacco Quit line reminding you to boost your body's defenses against cold, flu season, COVID-19. You can get free quit support from the South Carolina Tobacco Quit line. It's available for people ages 13 and up, regardless of health insurance. South Carolina Tobacco Quit line support can double your chance of quitting successfully. You can get free help 24/7. Call them at 1-800-QUIT-NOW or text READY to 34191. Westside leading it after a quarter, 14-7. The Rams trying to repeat as champs. In the 4A classification, this is a Westside team. But something to behold this year when you talk about the separation between its opponents. But both offenses showing out so far today, still on his feet and deep into Rams territory on this carry. Trey Leonard's going to be punch and counter punch today, Toby.
Absolutely. Like I said, I said right before the break,
they're in the position they want to be. You know, they want to get 4 yards of pop, and like their coach said, eventually we'll get one who can make a long run. But they're just trying to slow this game down, you know what I'm saying, and keep it at manageable, you know what I'm saying, so they can try to do what they do best.
Timeout on the field. Injury.
Trey Leonard flipping the field on one run. You heard that there is an injury requiring some attention that will be the perfect moment for us to take a look at some of the numbers. We'll see who is injured. Hopefully pass along some positive reaction to that here in a moment. But what jumps off the stat sheet at you after one quarter, Toby?
I think it's exactly what we said. You know, the 119 yards passing, you know what I'm saying, from Westside, and then the 75 yards rushing from South Florence. That's what we said. Those with the styles, the two dominant styles, but 133 yards to 113 yards. You know, you're talking about a 20-yard difference, and they have the ball right now. So, you know, you're looking at probably even stats after this drive is about over with. So, you know, it's basically playing, you know, into what we said from the beginning of the game.
Our first quarter stats brought to you by Jim Hudson Automotive Group. Experience it once, you will never forget. Jim Hudson Automotive. Well, these teams experienced it once a year ago head-to-head. We are experiencing it between them for a second time, and it begins this second quarter, that is, with Messiah Jackson and company starting to knock on the door of the red zone again. 2nd and 5 coming from the 25.
And the 2nd and 5 is what they want to get into. You know, they want to be able to move the ball, get 3 or 4 yards here, keep moving the chains, keep running the time off the clock. You know, the best way to keep a great offense on the sideline.
Messiah Jackson tossing it toward the end zone, and it's going to be picked off. Running underneath it and taking a knee for a touchback is Bomar, and you've seen him on one side of the football already. Remember, he can do some damage defensively as well.
Like I said, he was just covering his receiver with blanket coverage, and then he came off on his receiver. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, he came off on his receiver and came back with a ball that just sailed in the air, and he just came over and just picked the ball off.
Picking it off in the end zone, understanding the situation, making sure he brings it out to the 20 for his crew. And you always track turnovers, Toby. Westside has a takeaway.
Absolutely. You know, at the end of the game, you're going to see the team that has, you know, probably the less takeaway to the team that wins this ball game. But it's too early in the game. You know, the score is too tight right now for that to be a final decision, you know what I'm saying, or a major mistake. But at least you turn the ball down over on, you know, in their territory instead of your own territory, which give them an easy shot to go and score.
Westside.
Going to be a timeout taken before Cutter Woods and company go back to work. Brian Lane gathering his team up as we take the timeout as well.
When I was growing up, I was taught, if you make a promise, you keep it. And for 45 years, that's what we've been doing at A&I Fire and Water Restoration. From Wilmington to Florence, from Myrtle Beach to Charleston. When disaster has struck, we've made promises to tens of thousands of families to turn their houses to homes again. We take pride in keeping our promises. It's what we do. It's who we are.
A&I Fire and Water Restoration.
A state championship game well underway. We're in the second quarter. Our broadcast, as always, presented by A&I Fire and Water Restoration. You want to stick around. At the intermission, we'll have the Coastal Wound Care halftime report. You'll meet some South Carolina High School League personalities, first half highlights, stats, all that and more, brought to you by Coastal Wound Care, sponsors of the halftime report. Westside back to work. What a season it's been amidst the 27-game streak for the Rams. You know, this is a team outscoring its opponents 634 to 205 this season. And they go back at it here across the 20 to the 25-yard line as it is carried forward by Richardson once again. 1-2 meets another as Amari Reeves is there to help provide the stop. Toby, the run through the postseason has been as impressive as anything. Yes, 634 to 205, the splits this year. But 55-0 over Lakewood, 49-9 over AC Flora, 49-7 over Camden, and 35-14 in the Upper State Championship game against South Point. That's rolling through the playoffs.
Absolutely. You know, AC Flora has played for state championships in the last couple of years. Camden has played for numerous state championships in the last 3 to 5 years. And South Point has been a staple in the playoffs and the state championship. So they've beat 3 teams that has won a state championship in the last 5 years.
One of the many reasons, because he can beat you more than one way. That's the first time we've seen Cutter Woods tuck it and take off, and his rush is strong enough to move the chains with the Stewart Law Office's first down.
It's just a smart decision. You know, you come back, you know, he's made a couple great throws, and when you come back, if it's not there, you can always use your legs and just get positive yards. Anytime you can make deposits and get positive yards as a quarterback or any player on the field, that's a great thing for your team.
You know what the team mates that he has and the fan base on the far side loved? Not only that, he was able to get out of bounds, make sure he was protected for the future, so he can make tosses just like this. Down the near side, all the way down the near side goes Bomar once more. You know, the first one to Bomar was just a long toss that he found a way to reel in. This one was the work of Bomar after the catch for the Rush's TD.
Absolutely. I mean, he's just an athlete. You know, they throw him the ball on basically a curl, but when he caught it, he just showed how explosive and how physical he is. See, he makes the guy miss right here, but he just stiff arms this guy because he wants to score. He's just waiting on him, just push him down, and hey, there's nothing going to stop me from getting in this end zone.
Bomar impressive in this first half. The extra point is solid. And you saw that was the latest candidate for our play of the game. They keep on coming. The hits, that is, just keep on coming. And Bomar, he had the interception that snuffed out the South Florence drive. And he's going to be responsible for the touchdown that puts 7 more on the board.
Absolutely, but you got to give credit, too, to the offensive line. They gave Cutter Woods a lot of time back there to find him, come off on the second and third read. And then he just used his strength and just showed, hey, I'm just a grown man out here. I'm an athlete, too, and, you know, about to go play some college football. I'm going to show you how I do this, too. It's another playmaker on this field.
That was one of them. Substantial, I don't think so, as we have seen this state championship weekend. 69 yards on the connection, 80 yards on the drive, as we glance at the Palmetto Pride scoring summary. He might be a little winded, and with good reason. He ended one drive in the end zone to our right. He capped that drive in the end zone to our left, defensively and then offensively. What a bookend to his night so far.
Absolutely. You know, he just needs to stay hydrated. You know, he plays both ways. You know, he's a new Travis Hunter. You know what I'm saying? He's a lockdown corner also. You know, and he's just a great receiver. He's just a tremendous athlete. Probably one of the best athletes on this field.
And that is one athlete talking to another. You're listening to Toby Cates, the letterman, captain at the University of South Carolina, who spent some time in the pro ranks and was a major standout when you think about South Carolina high school football during his time at Chapman High School up in Spartanburg County. And Toby giving some high praise to the athlete he sees on the field tonight. And boy, did they abound. Here's a quick response by South Florence. And let's go back to that sequence for Bomar. Ending a drive in one end zone and capping a drive by taking it all the way to the other.
I mean, it's just awesome. Again, like I said, he was just playing great defense on his guy, but he's able to come off and make that play. And then on offense, he just turns right around, and he just will not be denied. He just pushes the guy down and just basically races to the end zone.
Now, fortunately, in this game thus far, he's got another player down at around the 28-yard line. Everybody that has been injured, shaken up in any way, has walked off under their own power. That looks as if it's going to be the case again. You saw concerned about a teammate. Bomar certainly focused on his friends, his teammates, the members of that family and that community at Westside. But he has been quite a weapon for the Westside Rams thus far in the 2024 4A title game. Bruins back to work. Westside having created a separation of a couple of scores now, thanks to the work of Bomar. Goes back to Leonard. Areola there to help provide the stop. Second down coming.
Still not out of reach. South Florence.
Oh, a long way to go.
They still can keep sticking to what they're doing. They believe in what they're doing. And, just keep getting 3 or 4 yards and just keep pounding and, just make it an interesting ball game.
Yeah, keep in mind, major separation between these two late a year ago. South Florence going to keep coming right back at you. Bruins going to take this into Westside territory. And another nice run by Leonard. Boy, he is looking impressive as well.
Absolutely. He has quick vision and quick feet. He has a quick lateral cut, and he just uses power and his speed. And again, he's looking to stiff arm, and hey, you can't take me down, but when the cavalry comes, I might as well step on out of bounds and be safe.
Every inch of real estate when it's one-on-1, though,
absolutely.
You're going to keep working your way toward.
Absolutely.
First down at the 36-yard line for the Bruins. 4A championship game closing in on 9 minutes remaining in the opening half. Backfield full. Deciding to call his own number this time is Messiah Jackson. The one guy not fooled there, Malachi Peterson, who is on the scene to make the stop.
Absolutely. Coach defense coordinator would be very proud of him. All this eye candy in the backfield, people pull him one way, he just follows the guards, but he's able to stay at home and just does what he does best and just roam and just make tackles.
Malachi Peterson got some growing room. He's in his sophomore campaign.
That's great when you see a young guy. You see the sophomores and the FRs beside their name. You got some studs that's on the field. He's starting at linebacker as a sophomore.
That tells you Westside going to be difficult to deal with for a long time to come. Spinning off the first tackler is Gilbert, and then, as Toby said a moment ago, the cavalry arrives. That's about as good a description as what we just witnessed here, with white jerseys everywhere. Westside, among others, Livingston, who is there to help on the scene.
That's it. You got to have penetration. And there we go again. The sophomore. Hey, all he knows to do is just throw his body in there. Here comes the cavalry. So that's what it takes. Just take one guy just disrupt the backfield action. Once one guy does that, he can just throw the back's feet down. He don't have quite that vision. He got to start back up. And then the rest of the guys just going to come and help make tackles.
Livingston was the first guy on the scene. It forces a third down. They got everything tight on the interior, and right down the left hash it goes. That was a substantial gain created by the big boys up front. Finally there to stop it is Jamison Wilson, among others. And here's a look at Sellers in this group getting set to line up for what's going to become a 4th down and 3.
This is what they're built off of. Maybe see some trickery right here. Maybe some type of end around, maybe a quarterback that he has the option to pitch the ball or keep the ball, or some type of zone read if they crash and leave one guy unblocked. But they from the PD area. They just line up. That's one thing I learned from Reggie Richardson. Hey, the PD, those guys think they're really tough, so they just line up and play physical football.
Come right at you. This time over the top is the look, and a bit of trouble creating separation from his defender will keep Valerie from being able to locate it. It is incomplete, a turnover on down. So Westside once again able to get off the field by turning aside the 4th down play.
But I like the play that the coach called. Guy had separation, but as a quarterback, you got to learn when the guy has a defender beat and he's going across the field, just put a little air up on him. When you try to throw I call them beeline bullets. When you try to throw a beeline bullet, it's just hard to hit your target, while he's moving. So just kind of lay the ball up and give it some air and just let him run upon it.
He has done that on more than one occasion tonight. Look at the numbers already put together by Cutter Woods, who brings this offense back out onto the field. He has thrown a very nice ball tonight on multiple occasions. He's going to have a man near side here. Tried to deliver that to Dawson. Looks like the catch was made. Dawson able to get his hands underneath it. 6.5 to go first half now. Here's how the drive starts for Westside.
It's just getting positive yards. Cutter's looking to throw the ball maybe downfield, maybe take another deep shot. Most people do that after a turnover or after a change of possessions. But, he's just a smart quarterback, and Coach Lane puts that on him. Just say, I'm going to give it to you. You're a senior. You're about to go play college football. So I'm just going to put a lot in your range and trusting you that you're going to make the right decisions.
What a luxury it is. Now, Cutter Woods, for those of you who maybe haven't been following as closely, is a signee of the University of South Carolina. We talked about over 3,000 yards this year and what he's been able to do, and the limited nature of the problems when the football's been in his hands.
That's also great too. Tried to run the draw, but it was just penetration in the backfield. You know what I'm saying, from South Florence. But at least it's trying to switch it up and do something. But Gordon just stayed at home, the sophomore linebacker, and just made a tremendous play. But you can see them building something. They throw the football. Now you're going to run a draw off of it. Expect the screen to come here soon. So, he's just using some different gadgets, some different things that he has to slow down that rush.
Woods on a critical 3rd down for the defense of South Florence. Will try to do some work with his wheels. He's going to make it to the 40-yard line, and that is enough to move the chains. There was a flag which came in at the end of this. Be interesting to see who this is on. But if it stands, a Stewart Law Office's 1st down, though it would appear Westside is retreating. Here's the call.
Personal foul. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
That's a painful one. Going to be of the 15-yard variety.
Yes, and negate a 1st down. First downs are hard to come by sometimes. They got big plays, but it just puts your team in a bad bind, and plus giving the ball back with. If you don't get this 1st down, you give the team back the ball with like 5 minutes to go, which they love to drive the ball down the field.
Two coaches that have learned one another over the last couple of state championship environments, locked in a chess match here. Say it again, Toby. This feels like a very important drive for South Florence. Westside up a couple of scores. You don't want to allow them to slide away any further, and now they have them 3rd down and way behind the sticks to try and do something with the final 5 minutes or so of the half.
Absolutely. But, like they switch on their defense a little bit, like they're playing a basic nickel package, blitzing off of it. But at least they're trying to give them a different look.
You know what the call is to go deep, and that is just lifted away on tremendous coverage in the secondary. Will Wilson able to get the job done as he ends up tossing that aside. How about that? William Wilson right where he needed to be.
Absolutely. They switched up the defense a little bit. The guy took the thing, but it still ended up being one-on-one. He still almost made the play, but it's just a great job. It's just, what can you say? That's just a great job, tipping away at the very end.
Well, and you know who that was trying to reel in his latest catch. Bomar was the guy they were attempting to use again. He had been the dominant player for Westside in the early stages of this 2nd quarter.
Yeah. And absolutely, but you see the throw that at least Cutter gave this guy a chance to catch the ball. And that's what I'm saying. As far as Messiah Jackson, just learning the touch.
Well, this is getting a little dicey near that South Carolina State logo. Sellers was saying, I was just trying to get away from the football, but he got tangled up with a couple of Westside Rams.
Yes,
no worries. Everybody headed to their respective sidelines.
That's right. That's the first thing that Coach always tell you. When you punt return, you're supposed to holler Peter and get away from the ball. But sometimes as a punt return, you see that ball bouncing, and some people kind of turn their head. You're thinking you're making it, scoop it up and make a big play out of it. He's returned 3 for a touchdown this year. So
always interesting how some of these guys are current friends that may be challenging one another on the gridiron in the future. Some of them right now combatants that will be on the same team in the future.
Absolutely.
We were talking Cutter Woods. He's headed to Carolina. Certainly true of Sellers, who's going to join his brother there. On his same team, you got the player in the state headed to Clemson and Adams. Right now, they're working together. They will eventually be on opposite sides of the Palmetto State rivalry. So whether it be a Friday night or a Saturday, the allegiances can change, but it's fun on a night like this to consider. There is the holding call that is at the end of this sequence. But that's the thing that sometimes gets lost in the mix. A couple of guys working together right now that they're going to find a guy in opposite colors a little later on. A couple of guys battling it out right now that'll wear the same uniform in days to come.
Hey, when I came out of high school, and especially when I went to University of South Carolina playing at Clemson, they'd be like, oh, how can you do this? You're supposed to hate Clemson. No, it's no hatred. It's while you're on the field, you're going to battle it out and do that. But, it's still the love for the game of football and still the love for them. How could I grow up with you being at your own house and play ball with you your whole life for you to go to pick a school and I just hate you or dislike you because you picked the school?
It is a healthy rivalry of two respected programs, not just in this state, but nationally. Boy, you look at them both in the top 20 in the country closing out the year, and that means a bright future for so many of these players you're watching tonight who are going to be on opposite sides of that rivalry. But, you experienced it. Guys you're in high school with, your teammates, and then you go opposite ways. Guys you were high school rivals with, and now you're teammates. It is interesting how it often comes together.
It's funny how that ball bounces in this world, but thing about life. You know, you just got to take it for what it is and just make it the best of what you have. But, you know, one thing that proves everything, you know, it's not about hatred, it's about love.
You got it. You got it. And the people that are brought into your life, that your teammates with, that you have these moments with for a season in time, it's a season that you never forget. These two teams trying to cap off a season with a title, and this is a big play to that end for South Florence. Goes over the left side. How about big 71 crawling out of there? You know, Tyler Cockfield did good work to make enough space for Trey Leonard and company to move the chains.
Again, they did the GT pull. They just pulled back around. You got to kick out in the seal, and the running back just running right behind him. And basically, he just keep moving his feet and keep pushing the chains forward.
Josiah Mason joins him on that right side. Ethan Cash, of course, A.J. King, the center, Barry McLaughlin, and Jaden Granger on the left side of that line so often. This a talented group up front that you talked about, their play being so important. And with the game on the line right now, to some degree, because they didn't want to let Westside run off and hide, they put together a nice drive for these backs.
Absolutely, you know, and that's what they've been doing. You know, they started this drive about 5 minutes ago. You know, in this quarter, in 5 minutes, yes, they're going to try to milk this clock all the way down, and they're going to use it to the fullest. But, you know, play before, you know, they ran the GT trap, but now they come back, they just run straight power. But that was a great cut by Leonard. You know, the play was designed to go right. His vision took him left, and he just found yards and a good way to go.
Sellers this time, and he's going to elude the first tackler, and that initial movement was enough to give him forward progress for a first down.
Absolutely, just keep moving the chains. You know, you can keep being productive on first and second down. You know, it makes everything, and you can open up your playbook a little bit more. And they don't know what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? When you consistently getting 3 yards, consistently getting 4 yards, you know, that's just your style of offense, you know. And they just run the clock down and just try to score right for half, because they'll get the ball back, you know, after halftime. So they're trying to go get 2 for 1. They're trying to make a switch and get 2 for 1.
Talk about changing the complexion of this football game. To wrap around the second quarter into the start of the third, find brand new footing. That's what's on the table for South Florence. So on the first down play, after the Stewart Law Office's first down was secured, they get about 4. 2 and 10 left on the game clock. And second down coming. Important drive for the Bruins offensively after the defense did its job. Selling the fake after he handed it off to Gilbert was Jackson, and it's Gilbert down the right side. He's out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Move him again. Another Stewart Law Office's first down. Stewart Law Office is sponsoring all of our first downs in this second quarter. Over 25 years of protecting the rights of the injured. Visit StewartLawOffices.net today. Well, here's a red zone opportunity. Doctors Implants red zone in effect.
It was just a great run. And the thing about it, he went out of bounds. So he was able to stop the clock. He didn't have to use a timeout, and he still got time on the clock. So, you know, it's just a great way that they're controlling the clock, and a great way that they're just moving the football. The Westside is going to have to make a stop. You know, they're going to have to bear down. You know, they know that this is what their team's going to do. So basically playing man coverage and, you know, do some type of blitz from the outsides or the insides up there that maybe clog up something, or slant to the field, or slant away from the field, whatever, which way they're going. So they're going to have to pinch and slant and do some different things up front.
Let's see what they can do with Leonard as he works his way left side and deep into the depths of the Doctors Implants red zone. Haven't told you yet today, but Doctors Implants empowering people through full mouth dental implants. Check them out. That's Doctors Implants, sponsors of the red zone opportunities today. This a key red zone opportunity as we wind toward 1 minute remaining, and the Bruins of South Florence threatening with another Stewart Law Office's first down. This time it's 1st and goal.
I understand it's 1st and goal, you know what I'm saying, with time ticking down. I know you don't want to score real fast and give Westside the ball back with a couple seconds, but I know one thing, you need to score when you need to score, because you're not promised to score. And I guess
Messiah Jackson said, why not right now? Carries it in for the TD. That is Messiah Jackson. You know, they talk about the work he has put in as he secures the Rush's touchdown here of the rushing variety. They said he had worked since Christmas break with Ramona Robinson, the quarterback trainer, to give himself the added dimensions to his game that would allow this team to get here, and he has provided an added dimension for South Florence.
Absolutely. You know, Ramon's a great coach. He's a great trainer. Ramon, he's great. He's a friend of mine. So with him working with him, he's just going to end up being a great quarterback. With the coaching staff he has, the sky's the limit for him.
Leads his team on a drive here that closes the gap to 21-14 with under a minute to play in the opening half.
Coming home from work, and while I was at a complete stop, a truck rear-ended me. With that became a lot of pain in my neck, my shoulders. My husband thought that maybe we can just handle this on our own, not knowing a year later I would actually need the surgery on my neck. But when I came to Stuart, and he was like, I'll take care of everything. It didn't feel like you were actually going through a lawsuit. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's a feeling that, you don't have to worry about anything. That's why I would recommend someone to them.
Going to college for esports feels amazing. Growing up, it's something I never thought would happen. My family never thought it would happen. And then within 2.5 years, here I am.
He's actually a madman whenever it comes to playing on the sticks. He's going to be the first one that pursues this into an academic career.
Me getting an esports scholarship could show other students that it's possible for them too, as long as they put their mind to it and put some effort into it.
TV timeout.
Well, a late second quarter touchdown for the South Florence Bruins, now within a score of the Westside Rams. You may remember a year ago, the Bruins rolled in here on a 29-game winning streak and were the champs. Westside broke the streak and unseated them. And now the Bruins trying to return the favor, win a second title in 3 years. We will decide who the player that makes it happen on one side or the other will be at the end of this game. You can join us for the player of the game. That's a Stanley Law Firm player of the game selection coming your way. Some of the many superlatives we'll have for you in the fourth quarter today. There is our low country crawl space kickoff, and it's going to be met with quite a return. Westside going to be up near midfield, it would seem, but a flag comes in at the end of this return, and somebody's helmet's laying back at around the 37-yard line.
Hey, this could be a very costly penalty for whichever team, because Westside has great field position right now. If they get pushed back, it would hurt their chances, but if they get a penalty, they're definitely in strike position to score a touchdown right before halftime.
Well, this is a big one to sort out with 29 seconds remaining on the game clock in this second quarter. Well, the second period, in many ways, mindful of what we saw in the fourth quarter between these two teams a year ago. Same location. They duked it out here at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium at South Carolina State last December. Back in action to get the job done again. Worth recapping that drive. 9 plays, 54 yards. It was Jackson on the keeper for 2 yards. Our Palmetto Pride scoring summary brought to you by Palmetto Pride.
During the return, personal foul, return team. Illegal participation, return team. Those penalties will all set. First down.
So he's going kicking team, return team, offsetting penalties there. It's a long night and a long weekend. Right. And Coach Marlowe will watch as his defense has to defend 49 yards right now with Westside just inside South Florence territory. Boy, all the good work South Florence did on that drive, it's critical for this defense to make sure nothing further happens. And if you're looking at it from Westside's perspective, Cutter Woods in striking distance from anywhere on the field with the way he's playing
anywhere
tonight.
on the field, and the receivers he have, he don't have to throw it long. He can throw it short, and those guys can take off and score. The difference is South Florence defensive front needs to put pressure on him, so don't give him a lot of time to throw the football. That's going to be the key right there. How much time do we have to throw the football, even though they only rushing probably 3
Correction. There were 2 fouls by different teams. Personal foul during the kicking team. Illegal participation, the return team. By rule, will re-kick.
So the indication, and this is going to take some explanation for Brian Lane, who was not at all disturbed by the ultimate outcome of that kick, as his team had it at midfield. A break for the Bruins, it would seem, as the offsetting penalties means it will be a re-kick this go-round.
Absolutely. It's a break, but you never know. And you kick the ball to one of these guys right here, they have the ability
go the other way
to turn it all the way back running back for a touchdown. So you just never can tell when you got athletes on the field and you got playmakers that's abundant everywhere.
Well, the offsetting penalties part of it, he communicated right away, and they went back, talked it over, made sure they were all on the same page that it would be a re-kick. So the Bruins lining back up after that touchdown in the final minute of this opening half. Evan Holland, the senior kicker, who received plenty of credit from Coach Marlowe and his staff for his development. He's going to loft this into the sky. That's a live one, and it's going to belong to the Bruins with 27 seconds in the first half. They cover it up. Why not, when the ball was at midfield anyway, on a second effort, roll the dice. And South Florence has the takeaway. Special teams trending the Bruins direction this time around.
Absolutely. Sometimes when you don't have a hands team on because you figure that they're going to kick it deep, to pin you deep. But, you have to teach your guys that if the ball's up in the air, you can wave fair catch, and that way they can't hit you. So
Cameron Coe is the player who ends up covering it up. And Cameron Coe, who, they talk about how fast, physical, and engaged he is in that linebacking spot where he usually sets up shop. He has the special teams moment for the Bruins. One of the senior leaders, and here they are, Toby, with 26 seconds to take for a spin.
Yes, and they're going with an empty backfield. Are they going to throw a quick screen?
This may be straight taken away. Trying to go after the football was Bomar, and attempting to sell it to the officials that he came away with the catch. Now, he did come out of there with the football, but they're going to say a catch and that he made the stop, and it'll stay with the Bruins. Boy, he jumped that route quickly.
Yes, he did. That's probably from just watching film, with the different sets that they do. They don't throw the ball as much, so with different sets that they do, he got to jump on it, and he probably had help over top.
But you saw him take Valerie to the back, and they were still fighting for the football with Valerie on the ground. So the understanding that Valerie had caught it, and it is of little consequence when all is said and done as the final seconds tick off that second quarter game clock. But an entertaining and engaging first half between Westside, the reigning champs, and South Florence, who scored late to make it a one-score separation here. Boy, just a tremendous first half all the way around.
Absolutely. It's mind of the game last year. It's going to come down to the wire. But both teams are doing what they do best. Westside scores very quickly and, in quick spurts and score a bunch of points. But South Florence is the team that's going to weigh you down and keep your offense off the field. That's what they're doing. They've been getting 3 yards and 4 yards and 3 yards and 4 yards. As long as they keep getting 3 yards and 4 yards, they're going to continue, to move the ball and take time off the clock.
Plenty of big plays, plenty of positive spurts for Westside. Coach is standing by with Jack.
I appreciate you guys here with Coach Lane. Coach, 2 quarters away from going back-to-back. What's the dialogue in the locker room with the boys?
Oh, well, you just got to get them to play. The second half is 0-0 in our minds. We got to get a stop coming out here, defense, and just play our football game.
Your defense has been really resilient so far in this one. What has been so impressive about that unit in particular?
Oh, man, they've been doing a great job. DeAndre Martin's doing a great job as a coordinator, and our guys just believe in what we're doing over there on that side of the ball, and hopefully we can keep this going on one more half to play.
One more half to play. You heard him. Coach Lane, appreciate your time. Send it back up to you guys.
Well, 21-14 to score at the break. How about this? Coming to take it. Westside hoping to keep the championship. And South Florence looking to return to the top.
I'm Dr. Timothy Gregory with Costa Wound Care. Are you living with a diabetic or chronic wound? A wound that won't heal can lead to serious problems, even amputation. At Costa Wound Care, we provide the most up-to-date treatments, including negative pressure, compression therapies, and skin substitutes. Call Costa Wound Care now and start healing.
At Palmetto Pride, we know we have a choice. The choice for cleaner South Carolina. And it's the easy one at that. Don't litter. No grand gestures or heroic efforts here, but the outcome still has monumental impacts. When it comes to our state, every choice counts and every action matters. From the great outdoors to parks next door, from Main Street to your street. All it takes is a little bit of pride to keep South Carolina beautiful.
Are you experiencing diabetic or chronic wounds? At Coastal Wound Care, your healing is our priority. Our physician-run private practice allows us to prescribe the most up-to-date wound therapy, offer rapid appointments, and ensure you see the same caregivers at each visit. Call Coastal Wound Care now and start healing.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends. Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for all that you do officiating high school football.
What you do matters, and what you do is important for our student athletes.
Without you and what you do, it's just practice.
I know you've worked hard in your preparation this offseason, and now it's game time.
Go out there and call them like you see them.
Embrace the grind.
And the biggest thing of all is to have fun.
Please, stay safe, have a great season, and we'll all be watching.
You're watching the Coastal Wound Care Halftime Report. Heal faster with Coastal Wound Care.
Hey everybody, I'm Nelson Weston. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Friday Night Rivals. Joining us today is our long-standing good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Lover. Good to see you, my friend.
Your football friend.
It's football friend indeed. Now, Melissa, speaking of football, I want to transition from football to the classroom because you and I both know y'all have a famous program called Tools for Schools. And for those who are unfamiliar, how exactly does it operate on one hand, but on the other hand, more importantly, how do the good folks at home go about supporting it and getting involved today?
Oh, Nelson, it's really a wonderful program because it's geared toward the school and the needs that they have that sometimes, lots of times, teachers will actually end up buying out of their own pocket.
Indeed.
You have an Ingalls Advantage card and a list of schools who participate in the Ingalls Tools for School program. Link your card to one of those schools, and every time you shop, you're earning dollars. At the end of the year, the school can go and purchase what items they need.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing and well-rounded program.
Right.
Now, Ingalls, y'all have provided robust support to the community for so many years now. We're talking high school athletics, college athletics, and everything in between. It does beg the fundamental question, why? Why is this so critical for y'all?
Well, it's not just sports, but it's also educational programs, but we're the home team. Ingalls is your hometown grocery market, so you are also supporting our home teams.
Of course.
It's really important for us to be a part of that community. We love being part of that, and we're blessed to be able to do that. Lots of those students work at our stores or graduated from those schools. We see these people in church. We see these people at work. This is a really big deal for us. Might be a big company to look at us from the outside in, but we like being beacons in our own communities.
Y'all are beacons indeed. All outstanding work. Now, Melissa, very quickly, you and I both know no great game is complete without delicious, mouthwatering good food. What are some of the most popular items on y'all's menu?
Oh, my goodness. You have to start off with a wonderful boar's head sub, just absolutely good with all the trimmings, great fried chicken, all the sides you could possibly want, a wonderful salad bar, a wing bar, olive bar. I mean, I don't know if I could decide. I just have to go get a big old wheelbarrow and take it all there, plus all the things you need, like chips and drinks and paper plates. One-stop shopping place for all your tailgating.
All fantastic work indeed. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Christmas.
Hurry, they're going to be up soon.
When families and communities come together in the spirit of peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
Operation Silent Night and Still on the Fence. Okay, we're ready.
At Ingalls, we know that Christmas isn't just a holiday. It's a feeling to embrace all year long. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
I am glad I'm here because it's really helping me.
I have a lot of things I want to do.
I like being in charge of others.
My confidence really built up since I've been here.
This place has showed me, like, it's not good to run from your education.
It's a really great place. You got people here that are willing to help you.
It's something that's going to get you through every day. It's just something you have to have. And they're making it possible for me, because if I wasn't here, I would not be in high school.
You're watching the Coastal Wound Care Halftime Report. Heal faster with Coastal Wound Care.
Hey, we welcome you back into Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. Jack DeLongshall sitting alongside Mr. Charlie Wensky. Charlie, the weekend of champions. How's it gone so far for the SCHSL?
It's been a great weekend. We've had great crowds. We've had great atmospheres, great ball games today so far, and, great competition yesterday and today. So it's been a great weekend so far.
I love that. Obviously, South Carolina Stadium's been such an incredible venue to us here at the South Carolina High School League. Your thoughts on being back here for year two?
Well, it's interesting because most of their staff's gone to the Celebration Bowl where they're going to try to win a national championship tomorrow, but they've left some good people here with us, and they've done a great job. And, they had a graduation yesterday. They turned over real quick, and they've made this work. And, they're great to work with and great partners. And anybody that wants to partner and make this thing work is also always a friend of ours.
Yeah, well, he's not lying. We got a big-time bowl game tomorrow. Some stars on this field, potentially going to be playing for them next year. Appreciate you, sir, as Westside leads by 7 as the halftime report rolls on.
When I was growing up, I was taught, if you make a promise, you keep it. And for 45 years, that's what we've been doing at A&I Fire and Water Restoration. From Wilmington to Florence, from Myrtle Beach to Charleston. When disaster has struck, we've made promises to tens of thousands of families to turn their houses to homes again. We take pride in keeping our promises. It's what we do. It's who we are.
A&I Fire and Water Restoration.
You're watching the Coastal Wound Care Halftime Report. Heal faster with Coastal Wound Care.
South Carolina State Championships at South Carolina State University. Separation, just a single score once again between Westside and South Florence. We welcome you back to our broadcast, and Toby, an entertaining first half all the way around.
Absolutely, Jason. It's just the type of game that we had planned to see. You know, it's just two great teams that's playing for a state championship, and it's like a rematch from last year.
Yeah, this rematch living up to the billing thus far. You glance back at some of the key moments and some of the key numbers from this one, and there is much to build on for both of these teams. Walk us back through some of the key players we've seen. You know Cutter Woods is going to be involved.
Absolutely, but he got his favorite target. You know, Baltimore just a great exceptional offensive player and defensive player. And here he throws the next ball, and receiver just does a great job. He catches the ball and split the defenders, and he basically just turns on his speed and scores a touchdown.
You know, Bomar, you're going to see a little bit later on both sides, but the playmakers abound, including Sellers for South Florence.
Absolutely. Sellers just a great player. He's dynamic. You know, he just showed his ability to create and make plays. And then again, Bomar comes back and just snatches the ball out the air. And it's just a tremendous play that he wanted to score in the end zone. He was not going to be stopped. He turns it on, and he pushes the guy out of the way and just stiff on him and just scored a pay dirt.
And that sequence was back-to-back for Bomar. He ended one drive, as we said, and he capped another. Then it ends up being the QB on the keeper getting the job done as South Florence closed the gap toward the end. The numbers now beginning to look pretty even when you talk about total yards.
Absolutely. You know, total yards right now, South Florence is actually in the lead, but that one turnover, you know what I'm saying, has been costly for them. And Westside, you know, they're not on the field that much because, you know, to keep a great offense off the field, you know, your offense has to keep them off the field. That's what they do. They control the line of scrimmage, and they've been doing that. And it's kind of going like South Florence, like they got where we want you.
Adjustments being made, halftime adjustments as we speak. Who has their opponent set up for a little bit of a different wrinkle in the third and fourth quarters? We'll find out in just a bit. Much more to come from South Carolina State and the weekend of champions in this 4A rematch in just a bit.
Drove a 26-foot box truck. Somebody was in the wrong lane coming straight at me, and he couldn't correct, and the whole truck laid over and landed on my shoulder. It impacted me because you worked in constant pain. When the company acted like they didn't care, I knew it was time to get some help. When you hire Stewart Law, they made you feel, you know, like you're just a regular person and not a client. I would just recommend anybody having troubles to call Stewart Law.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a child 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, call us or visit willlougray.org.
Every morning, we rise before the sun, driven by passion, fueled by determination. We train hard, we stay focused, and we never give up because we know that every drop of sweat, every ounce of effort brings us closer to our dreams. But it's not just about the physical. Staying healthy and hydrating is key. Dairy gives us protein, electrolytes, and other key nutrients we need to recover and stay strong. Because greatness isn't just built on the field, it's built in the choices we make every day. Milk's got game. Do you?
Well, working our way toward third quarter action. We heard from one head coach going into the locker room. Time to visit with the other coming out. Let's send it back field side to Jack.
I appreciate you guys here with Coach Morello. Coach, last things you said to your group coming out of the half.
If you want to win, you got to break them. If you want to win, you got to break them.
Come on, got me ready to run through a wall. Any second half adjustments, your defense looked really resilient that first half.
Yeah, got to keep playing hard, got to keep playing fast. We are who we are at this point, and we got to keep attacking on defense, got to keep hammering them on offense, and, pray that the Lord would bless our work.
Coach Marl, cannot thank you enough for your time. Appreciate you guys. He's got Bruins Nation ready to run through a wall. He's got me juicing ready to go. Send it back up to you guys.
Well, he said, and he's always humble about it, we're not special on the field, but we want to do the simple things soundly. He said, if you focus on doing the simple things better every week, you find success. It has been success to the tune of 3 straight championship environments. There have been a number of teams celebrate success here in the South Carolina State Championship environment. How about Clinton getting it all started with a big win over Barnwell? Abbeville, 13th title all time. Somerville was going for that, but Dutch Fork still stands in the way. That Midlands dynasty proved true a little bit earlier this afternoon. You see the score here. Couple more tomorrow, Toby. BHP, Oceanside. BHP returning to that type of glory. And Oceanside, a staple now in the championship environment. And that Northwestern Irmo 5A Division II battle, highly anticipated as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Northwestern was a stable in 5A football, and Irmo's been up and coming. They've missed the state championship game, but they played the upper state championship game for the last couple of years, so it's going to be a great matchup.
When that community celebrated a championship in 2022, it was with a 57-30 victory over Northwestern. It was part of a run of 29 consecutive wins, but his crew, Westside, snapped that a year ago. It's the reason they're the champs and looking for another of the back-to-back variety. You know, that was the first title for Westside since 1969 when they won it last year, trying to make it 2 consecutively under Coach Lane. And you think about the West Side fan base and what football has meant to Anderson. You know, their rivals, T.L. Hanna, we've seen in the championships over the years, and the story of radio and the communities and, you know, the Electric City battles they put together. You know, Anderson County, a big-time football area, just like Florence is. These are 2 of South Carolina's communities that have been committed to football for generations colliding again.
Jason, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's just electric. Like I say, Anderson football, you know what I'm saying, and the community environment, you know, they're building in Atlanta. I mean, Anderson, and it's growing. So, you know, just that come down here from the PD area, you know, they bring in excitement and fun in the fan base here. So you put an Electric City with the PD, and, you know, and you got a great game.
Palmetto State at its finest. Here is a low country crawl spaces kickoff to get the third quarter underway. Bruins going to have the first crack at it here in the third, and they'll do so from West Side territory. The spark on the return from who else but Sellers. We said it. You'll see him all over the field in the return game. You know, has not returned a kickoff for a touchdown yet this year, but nearly broke one this time around.
Like I said, we've been talking about him all game. You know, he's electrifying. You know, all he has to do is put the ball in his hands, and that's what they're trying to do. But they got a lot of weapons, you know what I'm saying, on this offense and on special teams. So he just trying to help his team out in any way that he can.
One of the key contributors in that first half was Trey Leonard. You see he's already up over 130 yards on 12 touches of the football. Leonard and Gilbert, one benefit of having them fresh this late in the season and going into the second half, they would like to utilize them to wear down this West Side defense. So far, so good. There's a flag that comes in here as he's down to the 25-yard line, and that was in the backfield, so it may be coming back.
Yes, it's just great vision, though, but then we're going to get a hold, you know what I'm saying, one of the interior linemen. But again, like I say, it just showed the division at the back half to show his quickness to get outside and get positive yards.
If you're just finding us here in the second half, the South Florence team making a 3rd straight trip to the 4A title game as we await the holding call, one would expect.
Block below the waist. Defense. Penalty will be half the distance. First down.
Hey, this goes the other way. It's going to be against Westside for a block below the waist, so it creates a further spark for South Florence.
Yes, you know, Coach Marlowe, what they're doing, they're pulling that guard and that GT pull, that power that's coming trying to kick out. And it's probably going to a big lineman versus a smaller defender. The defender's like, hey, man, you know, instead of taking him on, he's trying to create a pile up, so he just went a little lower than he's supposed to.
This team again, 3rd straight trip. A year ago, they had a sizable advantage in the 4th quarter trying to go back-to-back. This time around, shoes on the other foot, trying to prevent Westside's back-to-back titles that we discussed a few moments ago. Here is Leonard again, whose numbers you saw at the start of this third quarter. He'll go left side. That's about half of what's needed for a first down. First down available here at the 3-yard line as 2nd down and 4 is coming. Well, think about the way South Florence ended that first half, and if they can start it with a touchdown in the second half, put themselves on even footing, what a surge that would be.
Absolutely. That's in the place where they want to be. And all of a sudden, they just want to get 2 and 3 yards, and that's what they keep doing, 2 and 3 yards. It's hard to stop a team that's powerful. Like Coach said, he want to get 4 yards. It definitely can't stop a team to get 4. But as long as you get 2 or 3 yards, get positive pushing. Basically, just giving the ball to your running back, and he just make one miss and just keep moving forward. Great push with the line. So it's just great.
I think he listened in all those mathematics class and understood that 4 is going to get you a first down every time. Here is Gilbert on that carry. They go right back to the ground. This time around, Jackson will do what he did toward the end of the first half, and that's carry it over the goal line for a South Florence TD. Bruins within an extra point of tying things right back up.
It's just quarterback power. He's getting the ball. He's just running behind it. He's getting zone blocking. It's just man versus man and mono y mono. When you get down in that type of situation where you're at the goal line, you just got to bow your neck, and whichever team is just the strongest, most powerful is the one that's going to win.
Messiah Jackson carries it in. The extra point is good from Holland. And with 10:37 to go in the early stages of the third period, everything tied back up in the 4A title game.
Dual enrollment's like a double scoop with a cherry on top. High school credits for me, college credits for me, and no stressing about costs for Dad.
We hear you. Your future is waiting at a South Carolina technical college.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 12 million participants in America who take part in high school sports or activities.
Senior year's all fun and games for them, but not for me. With dual enrollment, I'm going to get a jump start on college and save time later.
We hear you. Your future is waiting at a South Carolina technical college.
Well, these two teams, knowing something about a state championship environment, separated rarely of late. They're even again, 21 apiece in the early stages of the third quarter. You want to stick around. We've got our player of the game selection coming up. Stanley Law Group, your injury law professionals, reminding you to visit StanleyLawGroup.com today. They are the sponsors of our player of the game. With each impact moment, it gets a little harder to narrow down one individual to focus on in this contest. But the balance of this one's still in front of us, and the story not as yet written. We have a Low Country Crawl Spaces kickoff coming. Low Country Crawl Spaces, let's work together to correct your crawl space problems today. These two teams have, across the last few years, Toby, as the return is up across the 25 to the 26, corrected just about all problems when it comes to overcoming their opponents and getting to the next phase. This last drive, 4 plays, 39 yards, Jackson's second consecutive touchdown run. As we look at the Palmetto Pride scoring summary, this is one of those, you look down at it now, no real advantage on either side. Both teams in position to win it all.
Absolutely, and that's what this game is built upon, to have the two best teams, at the division to be at this game. And they're showing why they're two of some of the best teams. Just because somebody go up on you, don't get miscombobulated or get out of place or out of character. You're built on 3 or 4 yards of cloud in the dust, and that's what you want to do.
And this built on the strength of Cutter Wood's arm so often, this Westside offense. That looked for a moment as if it was going to be caught. It falls to the turf incomplete. And the deep shot for Cutter Woods is dodged by this South Florence D. Boy, this is worth another look.
Absolutely. He's scrambling in the pocket. He just threw the ball. It just hit him. It's just one of those things where he just took his eyes off of it, and then the defender did not quit. That's the difference. The defender did not quit. He got behind the secondary, and he just knocked the ball out.
Boy, that's one that, with all he has done today, Bomar, would think he should pull that one in.
That one back.
Omar, who's been so consequential both defensively and offensively for Westside, almost had another major padding of the statistical categories right there. Screenplay set up far side and working his way through traffic, still on his feet. Another major cut coming toward the middle of the field. Not much left to put a stop to Weaver. And the Rush's touchdown is his. Quick strike capability. Play after play after play. And right back on top. Westside strikes again.
Again, like I said, he don't have to throw the ball 50 or 60. He can just throw it lateral. And great job of blocking up front, and then he just does the rest. He just turns on the boost and just cut against the grain. And he just uses speed to outrun everybody.
A touchdown for Armani Weaver with the extra point punched up and through by Braden Barnett. The senior kicker remains true on the extra point tries, and here's one more look at the screenplay turn touchdown.
I say again, it's just awesome. He just uses his vision and cut ability to cut against the grain and just turns on the speed. And just like his brother, Many people don't know that they're brothers, so one brother can score, I can come back and score, but both of them willing to help their team win.
Talking about Bomar and Weaver, App State on the horizon when you think about what the future is going to be, but you're right. And they've been at a number of different locations where they could make a difference, find themselves at Westside in the state championship environment, and boy, have they been contributors to the tune of 2 plays, 74 yards, and a Westside lead restored.
I mean, absolutely, The main thing they're trying to do is just win. They're just trying to do anything they can, anything possible for them to basically win and help their team win. So if that's me catching bombs or me playing great defense or me on some special teams or me doing whatever it takes, I'm going to do that for the win, Coach.
Kickoff coming of the Low Country Crawl Spaces variety once more as Westside looks at South Florence and says, your turn. Bruins return. Got to be up across the 20. 25-yard line. Still looking for more room as the return man Leonard this time. He had pretty good starting field position coming for Messiah Jackson and company. Last 2 drives capped by Messiah Jackson touchdown runs. You think about what Sellers has done at times. We've called Robinson's name and Valerie's name. The backs Leonard and Gilbert have been quite a tandem. There's so many things you have to honor when South Florence is on the field.
Absolutely. I mean, they just got a great, team, a great philosophy of just doing it. It's just like that old work truck. They just basically push on it and just keep moving. And Westside is like the race car. They're like a Lamborghini. They on the highway, just fast paced and just going. And then you got basically like an old lady driving South Florence, but guess what? She gets to her destination.
That's right.
That's the thing. No matter how fast you get there, as long as you get to the destination, and that's what they're trying to do is get to the destination.
Reminder how many different ways there are to get the job done. As we talked about when you saw Drew Marlowe on the screen at the start of the half, he said, if you can focus on doing simple things better every week, you find yourself in a pretty good spot. And it's that slow and steady wins the race kind of scenario that has placed them over the top so often, Toby. And you're right. This is a team that they may not catch your attention right away with all the flash and glitz and glamour, but you look up, and for the 3rd straight year, they're pursuing a championship potentially.
Yes, Jason. That's what it's all about. Put yourself in position. You got a philosophy, and you got a commitment from the players. They got a commitment to the coaches, and they just believe in what they do. And they believe in the end they're going to wear you down. They believe in the end they're going to continue to make plays and put themselves in positions to win.
What makes this interesting is both these teams believe they're going to carry a 4A championship home tonight. We'll see what gives. Big 3rd down right here. South Florence going to line those backs up. And how about the space made? Anybody, you talk about the different type of drivers, anybody could have driven through that hole up to midfield. And it's another movement of the chains as the drive continues. That's vintage O-line work of the beauty variety for South Florence.
And South Florence has guys that's just physical. They just pound on you. They just kick out, seal, and the back just does the rest. He just comes through the hole. He just lowering his shoulders. And Westside is trying to take that ball. You know, they're trying to get the ball. They're not quitting at all on defense. You know, they a pressure team that may be a little outmanned as far as size, but they got a lot of heart.
You saw Josiah Mason, Ethan Cash, and others moving some of those bodies on the other side in order to get the job done for these backs. Weaver comes up, and he makes the stop this time around. It's an individual you have seen on more than one occasion. You talk about those that have made their mark on both sides of the football. Here's our call.
After the play, personal foul, defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
It's just going to tack it on. You know, suddenly some of that penalty yardage is beginning to be of concern, Toby.
Yes, you know, keep getting big yardage. That definitely helps your drive. It puts you in territories, or you can just keep moving the ball and working that clock. You know, that's the key for them. They want to keep this game close and keep working the clock and hope that their defense can make a stop with this fast-paced offense that Westside has. If they do that, then the momentum can shift their way. So they're not but one a couple plays away from, you know, maybe even taking the lead or tying this ball game up again.
On the march to do just that, looking for the game-tying score at the 7:46 mark. And everything comes to a halt here as both teams will work their way to their respective sidelines with a first down coming from just outside the 30-yard line. Officials calling everybody back now. And a reset of the play clock coming. With South Florence on the move. His third trip, this trip that Marlowe and his staff talked about, is a reset mid-season. So much of last week a microcosm of that. Messiah Jackson and company coming to life when it matters most here in this one, and that's going to set up a second down and short as he gathers this. You know, really, that game last week, we talked about it, where South Florence fell behind 20-0 right away in the lower state championship game, came surging back and made their way back to the state title. Environment again. So much like the season has been. 2 of the losses in the first couple of games out of the 3 this year, but that was against Northwestern and Somerville, as we said. He talked about the locker room experience after the Northwestern game, in which there was a kind of a silent determination, and how this team has improved every game since that time to make another, maybe more improbable than the last 2 run toward a state championship environment. And they've done the same thing in many ways in this game, Toby. Found themselves behind Westside a little bit early. They've surged back, and Trey Leonard and company now knocking on the door of evening things back up and putting themselves right there with the reigning champs at the 6.5-minute mark of the third quarter. The term they used, resilience, and you've seen it in this game, in this playoff run, and in this entire season for South Florence. And that offensive line, a big reason why they make enough room to move the chains again.
Absolutely. Jason, that's just the thing, you know, as a coach, you want to put your players in bad positions, you know, and I mean by bad positions, like you may play a team that may be, quote unquote, supposed to be better. You want to see how your guys are going to react, you know what I'm saying, basically when you in the trenches, or when it's that time, or when the game is on the line. You need somebody sometime to hit you in the mouth. You need somebody to be a little bit stronger, so that can motivate you, and you can use that as a coaching tool to say, hey, we need to go and get in the weight room. We got pushed around, and we need to do this because this is not working. You know, you see, this has to work our way. So you can get a lot of things out of a loss. And they took those losses and it got them to get back into this championship game.
Good barometer, pretty good ruler of where you are. And think about it, when you're going to line up against 2 teams that are playing this weekend for 5A championships in Northwestern and Somerville, you're going to have a real test and a real sense of who you are. This team has responded very nicely. Take a good look at Messiah Jackson trying to lead his team on another game-tying drive. He has them on the 16-yard line as the latest of the Doctors Implants Red Zone opportunities in effect here, empowering people through full mouth dental implants. Doctors Implants, sponsors of our Red Zone. Back to Gilbert. And he is swallowed up by that Westside defense, but he keeps the wheels churning. Makes another yard or 2 out of it before he's done.
Just a powerful back, got a nose for the end zone and a nose for first downs. You know, when you got backs like that, you know, if the line is going to block and just give you a little crease, and sometimes you don't have big holes. Sometimes you just got to duck your head and just keep moving forward. But they still put themselves in 3rd and 4. situation. That's what they want to be in, short, manageable, you know, third down conversion. You know, maybe if it gets this close, they'll go for it on fourth down. So, you know, the tide is kind of moving towards South Florence right now.
The two-back set of senior Zion Gilbert, senior Trey Leonard, who right at 1,000 yards apiece, though they did not play.
Before the snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay third down.
Though they did not play the entire seasons, they're knocking on the doorstep again. This is going to make it a little tougher. That's an untimely false start penalty that's going to make it 3rd down and 9. So now the playbook gets a little tougher for the Bruins.
Absolutely. This is something that we've seen last year at this time. You know, more at the end of the game, they jumped off sides when it was a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 3, manageable, and then you start putting them back. This is something that we said at the beginning of the game that they don't want to be in 3rd and long situations. But even though they're going to go for it on 4th down, it's
2-down territory. You talk about it at that. And look who's rushing down here to try to make sure
Westside.
He secures the timeout. Well, we're going to take a timeout too. Let Brian Lane catch his breath. 28-21, his team in the lead, but a key 3rd down for South Florence will be on the horizon when you return.
I am glad I'm here because it's really helping me.
I have a lot of things I want to do.
I like being in charge of others.
My confidence really built up since I've been here.
This place has showed me, like, it's not good to run from your education.
It's a really great place. You got people here that are willing to help you.
It's something that's going to get you through every day. It's just something you have to have. And they're making it possible for me because if I wasn't here, I would not be in high school.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
South Florence on the drive that has the potential to equalize things with 4 minutes even to play in the 3rd quarter. It may come down to a defensive stop. We will select a defensive player of the game, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax. You're with Founders. That's coming up as a part of our 4th quarter. How bad did Brian Lane want this timeout? Hey, the athletic ability's still there.
Yeah, coach is like he's running quarterback power. You know, he played quarterback in college and high school. And he's like he's running quarterback power. I'm going to have to kid him about that. Say, hey, coach, you know, you got to work out a little bit more, you know, if you're going to be running for timeouts.
Don't worry, Coach. They awarded the timeout, and it's given his team a chance to scheme on this 3rd down play. Here's the Bruins. Look at this set. You know whose hands it's in, and Sellers is wrestled to the ground. Westside's defense not fooled. And there to snuff it out when all is said and done is Quan Simpson, one of the junior defensive linemen. Great defensive play right when we're talking about defensive players of the game.
Absolutely. Jason, like I say, sometimes you just got to blow your back. You just got to get in there. You got to go hard. You know that it's something and the game is on the line. But especially when they put Sellers in the backfield, you know the ball is coming to him. So it's kind of like everybody can just do it. So that's when I think you needed something like maybe slip when the H-back's out or slip when the running back's out, act like he's going to run and maybe throw in the jump passes or something like that. So you just can't line up and just basically do certain things that you've been doing all year long. I think it's going to work against a great team that's been studying.
Yeah, sometimes they're both scheming for it. He had plenty of time to get ready in a state championship environment. We've seen both these defenses ready to snuff out those calls. Timeout called for here. It was a more traditional set with Messiah Jackson back at the quarterback position, but with 3:10 to play, you know, important 4th down here. Now, keep in mind, this is still 3:10 to go in the 3rd quarter, so there is a lot of football left in this one. Still seems a very consequential down coming here.
Yes, it does, Jason. it's just like, it's almost like, oh, the game is on the line. If you don't get it right here, then we're going to win. But it's still not like that. We got a whole another quarter to go, but you can't keep making the same mistakes like jumping off sides when you got 32 or 33 or 34, whatever, and you jump off sides. Those are the things that hurt you in the championship game. Last year, it hurt you in the early drive, and maybe the second quarter, and now it's hurting you again in the third quarter. So, players going to have to come out and just be disciplined enough, to stay in these trenches, even though I know it's hard because you want to just tee off, but just stay in these trenches and give your team a chance.
Those are the focal points on a couple of teams very eager here to get the job done. And when they're trading scores the way these two coaches and these two teams have, every one of these drives has added importance to it. 4th down and 9. And Jackson is going to toss it to the skies. That's caught. Laying it over top of the pylon for a touchdown is the receiver, Parker, who gets the job done for the Rushes. Touchdown. How about that? New wrinkle, new individual whose name we called. And look at this play call, Toby.
Great play design, Jason.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
You heard the pause placed on the celebration for South Florence as the officials gathered up, and the play will be negated by the illegal formation. And to your point just a moment ago, it's those kind of big moment erasing scenarios that have plagued this team too often. It is going to force them to line back up and now go for it again on 4th down from the 22-yard line. Let's see if South Florence can replicate after the illegal formation penalty.
Yes, and they don't have to score a touchdown. They can get a first down, so that's the key. So you don't necessarily have to get all of it in one, but you do have to get a first down.
First down is available at the 8-yard line. Messiah Jackson tossing it. Same play, same result. A little bit different in terms of the number because they go to Sellers this time. But it was a carbon copy of what we saw with Parker. This time, it stands.
Just an awesome job, just having trust in your quarterback. The play fake, they've been running the ball all game. He just throws a dart and just a great catch and great way of putting it in the end zone.
It's almost as if Sellers said, I saw the way Parker did that. Let me see how it works to stretch the ball out over the pylon on this go-round. No formation issues here. No extra point issues either. And 28 are on the board for both sides. Will it be a night that whoever has the football last has to say in the 4A title game? This is guts and glory on a 4th down conversion. Think on that, Toby. 4th down touchdowns we've seen this championship weekend when you felt like you had to have it.
Right.
This one belonging to Jaden Sellers.
Absolutely, Jason. These guys just come out. Hey, that's what ball players do. Ball players make plays. And at this time right there, he just has to be the recipient of it. But there's a whole lot of players out there, but he just happened to be the recipient. 11 plays and 72 yards. Sellers ended up with the 22-yard touchdown. So it's just a great thing for South Florence to come out here and just represent. And great play call, great design, great read.
17 with a 22-yard touchdown on a 4th down that ties things up at 28 with 2:55 to go here in the 3rd period. And you walked through that Palmetto Pride scoring summary, and it reminds you, yes, we will be focused on the closing stanza there, but that was a pretty impressive drive all the way around for this Bruins squad.
Their drive was so impressive because when they looked at this clock, they switched it out. They said, hey, we're just going to take some time off this clock. Let's keep moving it down. And even though it was going great, but it was a setback, but we were still able to overcome the setback. That's the key in the whole thing. They was going pretty good, like like they was unstoppable, but then the penalty moved them back. But it shows that we still resilient and we still have determination and we still going to push it downhill and we still going to score.
That's the word, resilience, that they've talked so much about. It's been the story of the season. It's the story of that drive. Cutter Woods looking to answer, and he's going to work away from a potential sack. tuck it and work his way to the 30-yard line. That's near first down yardage. We'll see exactly where they spot him going out of bounds. It's interesting. You look up at the scoreboard right here. So many of these players, including the guy filling up your screen right now, are going to play on Saturdays in primetime locations. And they've got 15 minutes now between them, the length of the quarters they'll be playing for soon enough to settle a championship.
Cutter Woods is just one of the guys, he's just so calm. He's just so relaxed. And, he's just trying to make plays. And he's one of the guys that you would love to have as your quarterback, because he's just calm, cool, and collected. And he knows when to make the throws and when to hand the ball off, when to do the zone reads, when to do the RPO. So it's just a great thing that you have a Cutter Woods as your quarterback.
That was not the football that was bouncing inside the 30-yard line. That was somebody's helmet. That's how tough it's getting in the trenches. A flag is down at the 30, though. We'll see how they sort this out, as Richardson has his equipment gathered up by a teammate. Clock stopped with 2:37 to go. And here comes the word.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the offense. Illegal block in the big act. A penalty is declined. Holding. Offense. 10 yards. Replay first down.
So they decline the block in the back penalty, take the holding penalty, and it'll back Westside up 10. There's a look at Drew Marlborough, one of the great young coaches in the state of South Carolina. Said he wanted to raise his young family in Florence. That's one of the reasons he took his talents there. 5 years at the helm. 3 of them he's been in the state championship environment. If you're not familiar with one of the great gentlemen in this game, I loved what he had to say, too. You talk to the coaches always. You say, what if your team's fortunate enough to pull this off again? He said, the quiet moments after, when you can really reflect upon what you've done as a family and what's happened to even make it to a championship. He said those are the moments that he relishes and will relish. One of the great young coaches in South Carolina. His defense trying to tighten up here now that Westside is in a first and long scenario. Cutter Woods going to rush it out of bounds at the 25. He gets 4 or 5 of those yards back. Who can forget what he did a year ago? Last year had 3 total touchdowns, 2 of them passing, 1 of them rushing, and he's followed it up with what you've seen so far here today. Those numbers are on your screen.
6 of 9 for 258 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's just truly amazing that. But they haven't had the ball as much, so he's making big plays when he has to make big plays, and he's being smart with the ball and taking off running. He's running a lot more, this game because of some of the pressure that's coming there. But, he's willing to step in the pocket and just take what they give and deliver darts, and the receivers just do the rest. Yeah, the Gamecocks very pleased with what they're seeing from the Westside quarterback, that's for sure. He tosses it for a Will Lou Gray Opportunity School first down. A rich tradition of individualized learning. Will Lou Gray, and he's racking these up left and right. Boy, what a crisp, perfectly thrown ball from Cutter Woods. And Jason, the thing is, that was probably his 3rd or 4th read. You can see his head. He was looking to the left, and then it wasn't there. So it just shows how he has grown and come back all the way through the progression and throw the ball basically on backside and make a bullet of a throw.
Now Woods going deep. There's Bomar, and he is right there for the Westside touchdown. Cutter Woods and company strike again. A Rush's touchdown through the skies, and every time South Florence pulls up alongside, Westside has an answer to push back out front. Again, it's just a great throw. He just sits back in the pocket. He just lets this go, and Beaumont just uses his speed, and he just the safety just sitting down. He just get behind him, and he's definitely going to make the catch this time. Last time the defender was able to knock it out of his hands. This time he just turns on the speed, catches the ball, and just walks in the end zone. No defender in the region this time around. That was a well-designed play. The familiar combo of Woods and Bomar, putting Westside back out front, 35-28. Turning into an offensive shootout with a gunslinger like Cutter Woods. Why not? South Carolina in his future is a South Carolina State Championship in back-to-back years on the horizon. One step closer, but a lot of football left in this one with 1:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 4 plays, 80 yards, 56 yards on the capper as we look at the Palmetto Pride scoring summary. So again, just high
profile offense, because that's what they are. That's that Lamborghini. Maybe had to slow down and go around the curve, but that was just a straightaway. He just turned it on, and like I say, the offensive line did a great job. They gave him a lot of protection for him to go through his reads for the last couple of plays, and also for him to slip past the secondary, past the safety, and he just let the ball up. And Beaumont just did a great job of running up under and catching for a touchdown.
They talk about him as a generational type talent that comes along at the quarterback position from time to time with what they've watched there at Westside. Think about the community at Westside, what a luxury they've had to watch week in and week out across this 27-game streak, the type of connections you just witnessed a moment ago.
It has to be awesome. Go to the game and know that you're going to see this type of excitement. Like I said, for 27 games you've seen this. So it's very exciting to go, and then you have all summer long, to chill off of it from a whole year that you were the state champion. To come back, now you're ahead again to maybe you become the reigning state champion again, a two-time reigning state champion. So it's just an awesome thing that's going on in Anderson right now.
Yeah, a little more electricity for the Electric City. Here comes the Bruins response. The low country crawl space kickoff returned to the 28-yard line. And that is where the Bruins will take over. They have had an answer each time Westside has surged ahead. At 35-28, they have 96 seconds to work with here in the third quarter. You see the coaching staff working with Messiah Jackson, who leads them back out onto the field. You think about this championship environment a year ago. Cyree Livingston comes to mind. We've called the name Livingston in this championship environment, really among those that helped lead the way here. What can you say about Messiah Jackson and the way he's handled things at the quarterback position for South Florence thus far?
You can see the growth. Even from last year, he was a sophomore, now he's a junior this year. You can see the growth there. I think they've added a little bit more in the offense and give him maybe a little bit more control. I think the linemen feel more confident that he's back there, that he can make the throws if you need to make it. He can run the ball if he's needed to run the football. And I think he's just going to play mistake-free football. I think when you have that confidence, in a young man back there, I think that they've just got a lot of confidence in his ability and skill.
Yeah, and he's got some backs to work with, and Leonard and Gilbert and the like who've done good work. And this is going to be Leonard again. We haven't talked about it that much tonight, Toby, but they continue to run in behind Bruce Thompson. Thompson, a guy they talk so much about as a special player because of the physical nature with which he plays. I mean, he's a guy, they said he'll hit you and he won't apologize because he's got that type of football mentality. They talk about him as just a football player who's going to give you his best on each down that is in front of him. He's one of the unsung heroes of this offensive group for the Bruins.
He's unselfish. That's the key word. You have somebody that plays unselfish football. He don't care about the glory of scoring the touchdowns, the glory of doing all the things. As long as he can block his man and they can win, that's all he really cares about is moving the chains, and in the end, letting everybody else may get the glory, but in the end, the whole team is the one that's who's going to win the championship.
Drew Marlowe said he is the embodiment of this team's style and makeup. It goes to that point you've been making. He said he may not be the guy that jumps off the chart at you when you look at his numbers, when you grab the visuals, but he's the workhorse in there that helps make it all happen. Who is going to be the unsung hero of this championship? Who's going to grab the headlines? 1 quarter to find out. 12 minutes left to settle it as we head to the fourth with the 4A championship still very much in doubt. The rematch continues next.
When I was growing up, I was taught, if you make a promise, you keep it. And for 45 years, that's what we've been doing at A&I Fire and Water Restoration. From Wilmington to Florence, from Myrtle Beach to Charleston. When disaster has struck, we've made promises to tens of thousands of families to turn their houses to homes again. We take pride in keeping our promises. It's what we do. It's who we are.
A&I Fire and Water Restoration.
We at the Stanley Law Group believe that we are the premier trucking accident law firm in South Carolina. We have the experience, the ability, the knowledge to pursue and to execute and to resolve these types of cases on behalf of our clients. I would recommend that you pick up the phone and you call us. At the Stanley Law Group, justice begins here.
In 2022, Lenora Sellers, now of South Carolina Gamecocks fame, led the South Florence Bruins to their first championship. And the former Bruin now here to see his little brother, Jaden Sellers. And he's with Jack.
I appreciate you guys. Here's the deal. It's been an exhilarating game. So we go to the breakout star in college football this year. But most importantly, the South Florence former champion, Lenore's down 7 heading to the fourth. How are we feeling?
We're feeling fine. I know I said it last year, but Marlon has it under control. He knows what he's doing, so just got to trust in him.
Well, you know, last year, your brother didn't get to play in this game. Suffering from that knee injury, but this year, how proud is Big Bro? He got the 2 tutties tonight, but again, not only to watch him today, but in just a few months' time to be a teammate again with him. It's got to be a really cool experience for you and your family.
Yeah, it's very excited. He's more excited. Like, he was excited about this game, but he's more excited about really after the game. Like, we get to practice again for the first time in like 2 years. He's doing both practice with us, so to see him out here scoring, doing a good job of that part of the game. I mean, you got 2 touchdowns, but I don't think you can get now as a win, so.
Well, the Sellers, they know how to hunt a W, and right now, South Florence back on the prowl, but I'd be remiss. Congratulations on a huge year, man. How about a message for Bruin faithful, Gamecock Nation, as you guys come off a gigantic 24 campaign?
We appreciate the support all season. Continue to support us, be there in Orlando when we play in the game.
Lenore Sellers, Jaden Sellers, it's a family affair here at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. We'll send it back up to you guys.
Who can forget the way he wowed us a couple of years ago, putting this team in many ways on the map along with Coach Marlowe. And what did he say? Just keep trusting Coach Marlowe. Hey, it's worked out. Last 3 of the 5 seasons ending in a state championship environment one way or the other. And they're on the march one more time. This is going to be stacked up on first down. Pretty good job by Westside to handle that. And Messiah Jackson will toss the ball aside. Going to face a 2nd down and 10. Lenore Sellers putting together quite a year for the University of South Carolina. Led them into Clemson with a victory. Had them in the conversation for the college football playoff. And they still got bowl game aspirations ahead of them. And a bright, bright future for that young man.
Yes, a very bright future for him. Lenore is just a great player. You know, beginning of the season, you know, he had a little trouble, you know, but it was expected. But I can tell you what, he exceeded all expectations, you know. But, you know, and we don't say expectation from fans. You know, the coaches knew what they had from him. So, like I said, he's just a great player and a marvelous player. And like you said, come and support him in Orlando. And I'm actually going to the bowl game and can't wait to go see him and support him at the bowl game.
Says the guy who was on the first South Carolina football team to ever win a bowl game, Toby Cates, who was alongside here. But you said it. Freshmen are going to be freshmen for at least a period of time. He was for a very short period of time and is already coming into his own. And we thank him for taking time to visit with us here in the state championship environment as a championship is on the line for Jaden Sellers and company. And they continue to go to work. Here's Messiah Jackson. He has run out of bounds. Say this, just kind of finishing up on the Lenore Sellers conversation, and who can forget what he means to this South Florence Bruins community. But grew up as quick as you're going to find in college football. Had them in a position to beat some of the premier teams in the SEC. And again, putting together a trademark season to announce himself to the college football world. So much to come, one would think, from that young man, for sure. 2nd down here is those colors he used to wear go on the march. There is his younger brother, Jaden Sellers, who is, they termed it, is the gadget guy in this offense. We'll see when the next time they go his direction will be, keeping it on the ground this time in the hands of Gilbert. And that's forward for a few. 3rd down and about 5 coming, Toby. This is an important play, and you start now to glance up at the game clock from time to time. Every time Gilbert and Leonard run the football, it winds down a little further. A 1-score game and just 10.5 minutes to go.
Yes, Jason, basic game is just winding down now. You know, it's 3rd and 5, but it's still in their game plan. You know, 3rd and 5, they figure they're going to go for it in 2 downs. So they figure that they can get 5 yards in 2 downs. That's just their mentality. They figure they can get 4 yards in 1 down. So, I mean, it's just certain things just about this. But Westside says no. Westside is attacking the line of scrimmage, and Westside is going to make this a dogfight.
Look at Westside's front getting a push. That was a stacked backfield and a little bit difficult on the snap. Messiah Jackson dodged a bullet here as he did bring this down. But Westside able to gather him up quickly. It's going to be a 4th down and a long 5 after those white jerseys swarm to the football. Westside D with a chance to protect this 7-point lead right now.
What it takes, just blowing your neck and just making big plays. We've seen it happen before. You get down these games in this type of situation,
Westside with a championship in 1969, a return to glory last year, trying to move a step closer to another on this 4th down play. Taking a 4th down shot towards Sellers to the end zone. He's got it for a touchdown. Well, they didn't want the 5 for the 1st down. They wanted the Rush's touchdown, and South Florence an extra point away from tying it somewhat on cue right after a conversation with Lenora Sellers. It's a Jaden Sellers TD.
I know his brother's happy, his family's happy, the community's happy. He's just doing big things, and we see why he's committed to the University of South Carolina, and see why his brother can't wait till they play on the same team together. It's just an amazing thing that his last game he is really leaving everything on the line for try to win a championship at South Florence.
And all of these players doing just that to the tune of a 35-all 4A championship game with 9 and change to go. The extra work here from Jaden Sellers.
I'm Dr. Timothy Gregory with Coastal Wound Care. Are you living with a diabetic or chronic wound? A wound that won't heal can lead to serious problems, even amputation. At Coastal Wound Care, we provide the most up-to-date treatments, including negative pressure, compression therapies, and skin substitutes. Call Coastal Wound Care now and start healing. Experiencing diabetic or chronic wounds? At Coastal Wound Care, your healing is our priority. Our physician-run private practice allows us to prescribe the most up-to-date wound therapy, offer rapid appointments, and ensure you see the same caregivers at each visit. Call Coastal Wound Care now and start healing.
All tied up once more. The last 2 champions in this classification going head-to-head for a 2nd straight year. Boy, you are looking for any possible edge you can find right now. Both these units on both sides, they work their way under the tents, into the huddles right away for immediate confirmation and adjustments. Very little adjustments needed for these offenses. They're dialed in. 9 plays, 72 yards on the Palmetto Pride scoring summary of that South Florence Bruins march. They keep evening things up, and Westside each time has forged back ahead. Challenge right now for that defense to make the difference. See if this team could at some point forge ahead. For Westside, if you're going to win a back-to-back title, well, keep that offense rolling and keep the pressure applied on the other side. Here comes our low country crawl spaces kickoff. And it's going to be fielded up near the 26. Diving catch to take it out of bounds. Nicely done by Evans. Hey, let's take another look at this because you were impressed with the catchable ball from Messiah Jackson.
Yeah, Messiah Jackson on the first 4th down that they missed, he threw, I basically call a bullet ball, a beeline bullet. 100 miles an hour is hard to catch that ball. But you can tell the maturity of him, how he's developed. He threw this ball, it's a little bit short, like basically a back shoulder. Giving him a chance, if it had to be a jump ball, at least giving your best player a chance to go and catch this ball.
So what you're telling me is that's exactly where a Gamecock wide receiver would want it.
Absolutely.
Certainly one from the 80s and 90s that sit beside
of me here. Give me a chance. All I want is a chance.
Receiver telling you that's the kind of ball you want thrown.
Give me a chance.
Nicely done by Messiah Jackson and company. Even again in the 4A title game, here's a guy who's thrown so many that have been on target today, and another guy with the South Carolina touch. The game within the game, in many ways, that we haven't talked a great deal about tonight, is you got Cutter Woods out there, and you see his numbers so far on the night, and he's handling his business on the west side, offensive side of things. And you got the Clemson commit, the #1 player in the state, and Adams on the other side, who's a big part of the front on this South Florence defense. You got the future of the rivalry in many ways going head-to-head. We'll see who continues to win those battles down the stretch. Cutter Woods waiting on the snap of a 2nd down play. That's a little too tall. He was trying to target Weaver again on the far side. Incomplete. Quickly to a third down, Toby.
Yes, and that's what the best position they did. But the play was here. I mean, the design was here. If he catches this ball, he got blockers out in front that's blocking for him and leading for him. And we already know how fast Weaver is, and the movement that he can make. So it's going to be challenging right here. This is the big down right here.
Cutter Woods, who has been on target so often. There's a look at the guy on the other side. Adams, who, as we told you, top player in the state. They talk about his motor, how big and fast he is, but that it's the motor that is most impressive about him. Push from the front this time. It's somewhat on cue. They get to Woods. A big lick on the Westside QB. The ball on the ground. We'll see if they determine
on the field, quarterback's down by contact.
That it was out, and you just heard it. Down by contact is the ruling, and that's major for Westside.
Yes, definitely major for Westside.
Biggest push tonight against Cutter Woods.
And sometimes it just happens. They've been double teamed or been blocking him all game long, but it's time for him to make a play, and he just made a play right then, and things just worked out for him.
It's almost as if 91 heard you talking about it, Toby. Amari Adams, the Clemson signed defensive lineman, and he's going to force Westside to kick it away here. Well, the Carolina side's won a few of those. Clemson side gets one of those. It's just like the future right in front of us here. They're going to keep blowing this on down until they blow it dead at the 26-yard line. You got to love the energy and the enjoyment that you're seeing from Westside. That's one thing I'll say about Westside. You've noticed them on third downs. You see here Weaver and company having some fun with it. They have enjoyed this championship environment the last couple of years, playing with a lot of positive energy.
You got to have positive energy. You got to have, because that's the thing that leads to championship appearances. It's positive energy. Negative energy brings negative things, negative thoughts, negative this. So long as you got positive energy, you're always going to believe you're going to win, and some good things are always going to happen to you.
They already got the outfits ready to go for a number of these players that are going to be playing at the next level in the future here. First down and 10 from the 26-yard line. For South Florence here, this is the first time with the football and a chance to take the lead. They've always been looking to equalize. Now they have the football in what is already a tie game. And it's going to be in the grasp of Leonard. He wanted something on the end of that. It was not to be, but he is good for 5. Toby, before this thing slips away from us, we'll first walk us through this play.
Basically just straight zone. Just zone, but the running back seeing that the hole was filled up, and what he does, he just uses his cutting ability and just go to the outside. That's one thing when you run inside zone and outside zone. Inside zone can turn to outside zone, or it can turn to a cutback depending on the flow of the defense. So the defense just overflows to one side, and he just uses cutback ability to go against the grain.
I'm going to say, before this thing slips away from us, one conversation we've had tonight regularly, the players that are going to play at the next level, but there are a lot of players in the state championship game, particularly a number of the seniors. They're putting on a competitive football uniform for the final time. So much extra energy and emotion involved in knowing this is your last chance to make your mark for your community.
That's just the hardest thing to know. I had a lot of friends that unfortunately didn't get to go play college football, and some of them should have, but whatever worked out didn't work out that way. And that's something that we talk about now. We 50-something years old, and we sit down about, we got a morning show that we talk about Friday Night Lights. We got generations of guys that played before us who we used to look up to. And, just talking about we used to be, Wayne Smith, and we used to be different people, and that's the different mentality. You don't know who you in these stands. What young man is in the stand that you can change? And just right here, like, his life has been changed by Sellers, and he just takes the ball and he just runs quarterback power and just runs right behind the line and get a first down and just keep moving the chains.
It's a first down for Messiah Jackson and company, and you're right. The next generation of leaders looking at this Stewart Law Office's first down and saying, hey, I can do that one day. But it's those players, those unsung heroes, those guys that are going to leave it on the line for their communities tonight that are also so heroic. The ones that your heart and your mind goes out to in these moments, Toby, because you said it. They're going to talk for a lifetime about the way they leave it on the field across these next 5 minutes, 55 seconds. And Jackson is going to have to smother this up just to save possession. That's going to mean a big-time loss here, but he at least maintains the football. That's a second tough snap he's handled.
That he's had, but he's an athlete back there, and at least he recovered and give you your team a chance instead of losing the ball and try to do something crazy and hurt your team, you know. So,
well, here's a player that looks to be hurt. We've got a Westside Ram shaken up at around the 45-yard line. Couldn't get a number there, but it's not what you want to see when you talk about hopes that all these players can settle it on the field in this final moment of the 4A season in 2024. Clock stopped with 10 seconds shy of 6 minutes remaining to settle the championship. We're going to break away. Hope we come back with good news on the injured Westside Ram down near midfield. .550 left to settle it. Nothing sure yet. And the rematch of the 4A championship game. The last two champions battling it out head-to-head for the second straight year. Will it come down to a defensive stop? If so, you will want to stick around and find out who the Founders Federal Credit Union Defensive Player of the Game ended up being. We'll have that at the conclusion of tonight's game, as well as all the other superlatives. But right now, too much left to be determined, Toby.
Yes, this game is going back and forth. It's what you paid your money for. You know, it's what both teams wanted. You know, just to be out here, just to give a dog fight, just say, hey, man, this is what we worked hard for. This is what you work hard for. And it's just coming down to everybody's getting their money worth.
Second and long, up top. Jackson throws the ball towards Sellers again, and he's got it inside the 30 at the 25-yard line. A similar connection to the touchdown between those two a moment ago. Sellers coming to life here in the fourth, and another well-thrown ball from Messiah Jackson.
And Messiah Jackson just learned. From the first time he threw that beeline bullet to come back to being soft touch and just laying it up and letting his receiver just give him a chance. And just a great catch, by Mr. Sellers, and it's putting his team in a position that they can go down and maybe even take the lead.
There's nothing else you can do in coverage if you're Dawson. Just a well-executed play. Here's a give to Gilbert, and he's inside the 25 to the 21-yard line. That's good for a handful on first down. You know, this South Florence team, we said it, won the title against Northwestern 2 years ago under the direction of Lenora Sellers. Westside and company snapped their 29-game winning streak by surging from behind in the fourth quarter to win the game last year. Separated by just 2 points, these teams, in a 34-32 final. And here's South Florence trying to return the favor and come from behind as they look to take the reins mid-fourth. And Jackson going to stand in there to continue selling the fake, but he gave this off to Gilbert, who is going to be near first down yardage again. Just keeps the pile moving. Now there is a stoppage of play as our officials are getting together on the far side, but here's another tremendous run.
He just running power
illegal
to the weak side.
Offense.
And he just basically just running behind the backfield and just cutting up and just using his linemen, and they just doing a great job of doing blocking. He just cut back against the grain. They think he's going to stretch it outside because he's been bouncing to the outside. He just uses his vision to cut up.
But the penalty going to negate it this time. That'll back him up behind the sticks at second down and 11, as you heard the call from our official. Well, there's still a lot of football left in this one, but you glance up and you know we're now beginning to work our way toward crunch time as South Florence looks for the lead. Boy, how many thrilling championship games are these two going to provide over the years? It looks like the never-ending story in many ways when you think about how loaded these teams, how efficient these coaching staffs, and how effective these programs have been. Westside gathering up to create a wall after the ball is given off at the 26. Good for about 4 and a third down coming after the ball is taken from Gilbert. What's available to you in the playbook on this third down?
Just looking for another big play, but if they put their best DB on your best receiver, looking for maybe another receiver stepping up. We haven't seen really Lewis step up or anybody else catch many balls this game. So again, Bruce Thompson has been blocking. Maybe try to slip him out of the backfield or do something different.
Jackson sees open real estate. He'll keep it himself all the way to the 6-yard line. An immediate decision made by Messiah Jackson when that side cleared out, and he has his team on the doorstep to potentially take the lead.
You want to talk about a smart young man, Basically, he maybe could have scored, but he know if he scored in the fast-paced offense that Westside is producing tonight, he just said, hey, we're just going to do this and going to stop here by the 3-yard line, 5-yard line, whatever, 7-yard line, and run his clock all the way down and don't leave them any time on the clock, and hopefully, we can score right here and maybe give them no time for them to win the ball game.
Commanded the over pursuit. This is a team that lost a heartbreaker. The score for Westside came with 15 seconds a year ago. The 17-yard touchdown pass to Tank Boston. A lot more time than that left right here, but South Florence on the verge of perhaps putting Westside in that late magic position once again. Messiah Jackson on the keeper. If you weren't with us for the championship game last season.
Timeout, Westside.
Westside taking the timeout here. Send it to Jamar Tank Boston. 15 seconds left in the game. 17 yards on the touchdown pass. It completed a 34-32 win. Who would have dreamed we'd come right back here, same, what'd they say? Same bat time, same bat channel. We do it all over again, same bat place, and it's 35-all with 2:20 on the scoreboard. I always ask you this, Toby, but maybe it's more critical now than ever. Take us inside the huddle. Let's begin with Westside, who called the timeout. What's the conversation here?
Westside saying that we need to get some push from the linemen. We got to get some penetration. Probably called a timeout because they're probably a little tired. So we're going to do something. They need to slant some type of way, or they're going to do some type of stunt. But they're going to bring those backers up. They're going to play man coverage. They're going to say we have to get penetration in this backfield. We can't let them just walk in this end zone.
And if you flip over on the other side, what's South Florence discussing right now?
Basically saying, hey, we're just going to keep pounding this ball, and we're probably going to score in 1 or 2 plays. Later, if we go 3 plays, it's even better for us because time is going to be on the clock. We're going to run the clock down on every series. We're going to milk everything out to the very end and leave them no time.
But you do have to make sure you work it in the end zone. Messiah Jackson and company working on that. Bodies stack up at around the 2, but the pile keeps moving forward, and you give that one to the offensive line. A South Florence rushes touchdown. Everybody involved as the entire community surges into the end zone. For the first time, it's not an equalizing touchdown. It's a lead commanding touchdown. It'll be credited to Trey Leonard, who carried the football and saw his teammates do the heavy lifting for the TD.
It's just the offensive line. It's just Mason, Copper, King, McLaughlin, and Brown. Those guys, they paved the way all year long, and they're showing it tonight. We said earlier, Jason, that this game is just getting into, it's just basically man on man, and he pulls across, and basically that's a small inside trap, and back just runs right behind him.
Touchdown, Bruins. South Florence with 22 celebrating a Rush's TD. Out front by a count of 42-35. And this is the spot Westside was in. Late moments, needing a score. They secured it a year ago. Can they do it once more for back-to-back championships? Or has South Florence just secured a second title in the last 3 years and returned the favor with a late score? This was a 10-play, 74-yard drive that ended with a 4-yard run by Leonard And put the asterisk there, the offensive line heavily involved as well on our Palmetto Pride scoring summary.
Yeah, South Florence is built on that. 10 plays. Took some 10 plays. You know, that's the type of offense that they built on. They want to keep that Westside offense off the field because they know they can strike at any given time.
They have 2:12 with which to work, and here's our low country crawl spaces kickoff. Going to be pretty good field position after spinning and winding forward. The return man Evans is going to be near the 30-yard line. They're going to line this up at the 28. So 72 yards going to separate Westside from a score that would give them a chance to decide about tying it, trying to win it. What a thrilling football game we've experienced here this evening.
It's just a great job on both sides. You know, that's what it comes down to. Like I said, people paid their money for this one, and people sitting at home, I know they are really enjoying it. But that's what it's built for. You know, championship games are built for two tight teams, two great teams to play a tight football game.
This is the right feel for a Friday night under the lights with the championship on the line. And hey, they showed us the full moon at the start of the broadcast. That may have something to do with the way this one shakes out. Westside to work on first down. Near side Woods, and a flag will come out. This is going to be a late hit assessed South Florence after Cutter Woods was trying to work his way out of bounds. Well, Toby, what'd you see here?
He just used his wheels. You know, he was covered backside. He just took off running, and basically the guy just tapped him at the end. He tried to. At least he didn't just push him down, you know, and try to hurt him pretty much. But you can't bump him once you go out of bounds, especially once you see him towards going out of bounds. Just let the man just go on out of bounds. And you see, you're hurting your team by just moving this fast-paced offense and this explosive offense, just giving them. They don't need any yards. They're going to earn them anyway.
Another incredible game between these two. Another amazing finish seeming to be on the horizon, and that's a costly penalty as it puts Westside at midfield with 2 minutes even remaining in the football game. Who you watching here?
I'm watching Beaumont on his post. He's going to throw over the field.
Going his direction, and there's another Westside touchdown. Deep strike to the guy you were watching. The latest. Woods to Bomar. Rushes touchdown, and Westside comes right back.
I've seen the safety start cheating over to the trip side, and you got a special player like this, and you're playing man-to-man coverage. It's just hard to stop.
What a football game, and the rematch of the 4A title contest, and now an extra point would tie it. Do you think about anything different here?
They're going for two. They're going to win it right here.
Take the lead with 1:52 to play. Cutter Woods and company remain on the field. The reigning champions riding a 27-game winning streak. Looking for two and the lead. Toss near side. Toss toward the end zone. Swatted up and picked off by South Florence to turn the two-point conversion try aside. The Bruins remain out front. 42-41. At least that's the way it seemed. Now they are unfurling the pile in the back of the end zone just to be sure, and it is South Florence coming out of there with the football. High fives all around. Avon Rosado, the guy who came away with it here, and they went deep in the playbook, did Westside.
He thought he had a play, had a guy that was open, but you know, you got somebody throwing the ball who is not a quarterback.
And Cameron Coe got a hand on that. They talk about how fast, how physical, what a key part of this defense he is. You know, we talked about him on special teams earlier, remember? Yes. He came in and had a consequential special teams play. It's Cameron Coe who swatted that ball up in the air and allowed Rosado to come away with it. Now, our officials continue to gather up and converse on the goal line, Toby. We'll see if anything consequential comes out of that discussion. But Westside rolling the dice to try and take the lead after the quick strike TD. And the two-point conversion. No good, at least that's the assessment on the field. And now a couple of officials going to talk things over with both coaches ahead of the ensuing kickoff.
The game is still not over, you know. The onside kick, you know, you get the ball, you know, they definitely can score in 1 or 2 plays.
And I think some of the discussion there having to do with timeouts. With 1:52 to go, that becomes a big part of the equation in an effort to win the football game right there. South Florence surging ahead in the fourth. If it sounds familiar, it happened the other way a year ago. And now clinging to a 42-41 advantage after they turned aside the 2-point try. Will it be enough to return the Bruins to the top of the heap in 4A? One individual backpedaling in regards to the return as South Florence waits to see what Westside attempts to do in an effort to onside it. Covered up by the Bruins. It will be South Florence football at the 49. Well, a penalty flag comes out and offsides against Westside, which is prior to the play, and backs it up to the 35-yard line. They'll try it again. What a thriller for the second year in a row between these two.
It's just a great game. I'm telling you, this is truly, truly, truly a great game. I mean,
Coach Lane looking at anything that might be at his disposal the rest of the way. Down 42-41 now.
You can't blame the young man for being offsides. He's just trying to get on the field and he's trying to get the ball back.
Well, let's see what happens on this onside. Big time hop this time around. A flag is down again. It may be another offsides penalty.
And you can blame him the second time. But the first time, you just got to learn from your mistakes, even though you want to go do it.
Well, and if you're Westside, you got to be saying, we just hope he's onside the time we recover, right?
That's exactly right.
For Westside, it's all about trying to get the football back. You know they can score 8 or 10 times in a minute 50, right, with what we've seen.
Absolutely.
And certainly both these teams capable of scoring when needed, as they have proven with the 83 on the board between them in this one. All right, third time. Will it be the charm for the Rams as they try to remain champions in 4A? Right to that hands team. And look who came away with the football.
Sellers.
Now you know why they call him the gadget player. He's everywhere, and Jaden Sellers recovers the onside attempt.
49 seconds.
1 minute 49, 42-yard line. Scoreboard showing all three. But I'm looking back, and you and I, with what we're tracking, indicating one of those perhaps. We'll see how this shakes out the rest of the way, as South Florence is hoping they're going to be in position to salt away a victory for the second time in 3 years. Now, this is a team having made a third straight trip to the title round. This the most improbable perhaps. They were unbeaten for the first two. Lost their first 2 games of the year this go-around, but proved resilient and have battled all the way back all season in the same way they battled all the way back in this contest. Clock runs at 1:38 and downward. We've used the term used by the coaching staff over and over again, that term being resilience. And it may be enough resilience for a championship for Messiah Jackson, Jaden Sellers, Trey Leonard, Zion Gilbert, Lennox Valerie, Malik Robinson and company. You think about all the guys on the offensive line, and Bruce Thompson, who has served this team well, not to mention the defensive unit, what they were able to do. Will it be enough? 65 seconds separating them now. Jackson runs into that line, able to spring away from it. He gets to the 40, and that's all. And the football comes out. Did Westside cover it before it went out of bounds? That's the only question. Boy, this tense moments in this football game down the stretch over and over again. Our officials are talking about it. The football clearly came loose. The question is,
I think they're going to rule them
rolling
down.
on the field, fumble out of bounds.
There you go.
It's third down.
The question is, did it go out of bounds?
On the snap.
The answer is yes. And boy, a bullet dodged for South Florence right there.
Yes, bullet dodged for them. I mean, they played ball all season. They played ball this game.
Well, the other thing about that, though, the football did go out of bounds to stop the clock with 52 seconds remaining.
That's big key. Sometimes you got to realize, you have to get down, and keep the ball in play and force them to use a timeout, or don't put your team in a bad position.
May very well be the catalyst for Westside having a chance again here to get the football back and keep this team from taking a knee. Because the one timeout in Westside's pocket will now be taken with 43 seconds to play. And Toby, the ball going out of bounds a moment ago has preserved enough time potentially for Westside to have one
game clock to 45 seconds.
More shot. They're going to reset the game clock from 43 to 44, and this just got a little more wild than you may have anticipated.
That's something again you got to tell Messiah Jackson. He's still learning, and he'll have something next year, to keep learning on.
Let's take a look at that play one more time, because this right now, the ball game in many ways, Messiah Jackson was covered up. Once he bounced it outside, the football stripped away. Valiant effort by that Westside D, but they could not gather it up before it worked its way out of bounds. Did, however, stop the clock, which keeps hope alive.
Absolutely, keeps hope alive. And they're going for it here.
Did we mention it was a full moon tonight here in the Palmetto State? Fourth down and 11.
I think he's going to punt it back, but you got a daily returner back there too, so he can actually return it back, or they get in and try to block it.
Messiah Jackson puts a foot into it. Bounces inside the 5. Going to be covered up inside the 1 yard line. Westside will have a prayer, but from 99 yards away with 39 seconds to play.
They still don't have to throw this the deepest ball. They can get 15 and 10-yard chunks because they receive it so fast. It's not going to take them that long. And then they can set themselves up for about a 50 or 60-yard ball.
Visions of a year ago, it was with 15 seconds to play that Westside snatched away a championship 34-32. Down just the 1 point here, but separated from the other end zone about as far as you can be. And standing in his own end zone, Cutter Woods awaits the snap. Reminder, no timeouts for Westside now. Cutter Woods firing away downfield. Looked to be intercepted, which would have sealed it again for South Florence. But it falls harmlessly to the turf on that SC State logo. Will line up and do it again. Well, you know who the go-to guy would be on the Westside lineup when you consider Bomar's night. Every time he's caught the football, they all have one thing in common, Toby.
Touchdowns. All he do is score, baby. He's a big-time playmaker. Big-time playmaker.
And they have been quick strikes from distance.
Yes.
This would be from historic distance. Jumping the route, disrupting it enough that it is incomplete. Intended for Evans out on the near side. You watch the clock as intently as anything else. It's now at 25 seconds with third down coming from the 1.
South Florence doing a great job now. They actually put Sellers in the secondary. You're going to put the best players on the field. There's no way he feels that you're going to lose to him basically on the sideline. So they put the best players in, and the main thing from Westside, they cannot get a penalty in the end zone either.
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
It'll be automatic safety. So
Sellers playing center field right now and up around the 35-yard line.
Yes.
These teams played to a 2-point separation last year. If you thought it couldn't be any closer, you look up now, they're separated by 1. The ball on the 1 inside a half minute to go. Caught in the end zone, making a man miss and getting out of bounds, which is critical. And that, again, preserves the drive. A third down conversion with 18 seconds to play. The downs are no longer a problem, though time is still the issue.
Yes, time is just ticking,
But you had to have the first down to give yourself a chance.
Absolutely, so you can throw the ball down the field, so you have to take one big chunk. So they can still get 10 to 15 more yards and still have a chance to throw the ball and heave one to the end zone. Or have a play design that you can use one of your other receivers and make a big-time play.
The critical thing for Westside, they have to get out of bounds or at least use the stoppage of the clock on first down because no timeouts remain for the Rams. You know, Cutter Woods has the arm for it. He goes deep here. This is a jump ball, rattles around. Bomar tries to catch it at the 36, but it is ruled incomplete with 8 seconds to play.
It's a great effort, a valiant effort on his part to go and try to catch that ball off the tip.
Well, and it would have been a first down. They would have had to really had to hustle here. Look at the work to try and pick it off and win it. And boy, that's almost reeled in by the guy who has done so much tonight for Westside. You got a player down at the 36-yard line being tended to. You know, Toby, it's going to be tough. It is. Bomar, you said it, who's a little slow to get up here.
I think it's just a cramp.
Well, bodies were colliding everywhere and equipment with it. So not surprising that he may have accrued some type of injury on that valiant effort. Let's get one more look and see exactly what happened here. That would have been the pick to end it. This would have been the catch to make it interesting. And yeah, you see him get tangled up there. No, Toby, this is one of those, we say it so often. Going to be tough to see either one of these teams walk away from here without a championship. They have both once more laid it all on the line.
They have laid it on the line. It comes from all the hard work they did at practice, you know, all summer long, from the workouts, the winter workouts, the summer workouts, you know, the preseason to the regular season to the region. I mean, they've laid everything on the line, and they've gave us everything that you expected out of a 4A championship.
Well, in sports, 8 seconds can be quite a ride. We'll see if they take us on one here. Westside trying to replicate their late come-from-behind victory a year ago. Set up underneath. And the screen up to the 25. 1 second on the clock. It seemed they were trying to stop it. We will see if this is it. South Florence beginning to dump out onto the field. They're celebrating a championship. And our officials initially looking as if they may have been trying to stop the clock. Now we're going to trot on off the field, and the celebration can ensue. South Florence hangs on by a single point to reclaim the 4A championship.
It was just a great game, great atmosphere. You know, what can you ask for? To come down with only no seconds on the clock. A team that's been resilient all year long. They've been resilient during this game. And we talked about it right before halftime. We said if they could get 2 of them, you know, they scored right before halftime. They came back after halftime and scored. That's the type of game that they built for. That's the type of game, the atmosphere that they want. Once they get you in those positions of keeping your offense off the field and keep moving the football, hey, it's just that type of game that falls right into their hands.
He talked about doing the simple things at a high level, week in and week out. He discussed the resilience that his program has experienced. And a resilient season followed up by a resilient effort in the state championship game. And South Florence, by virtue of its first lead in the latter stages, going to return the favor in what have been 2 classic 4A title bouts between these 2 impressive schools. And now you get the ultimate display of sportsmanship. You saw Coach Marlowe lining his guys up as they worked to get ready to congratulate Westside on a tremendous season before celebrating a latest championship. Here is that handshake at the middle of the field, a reminder of just how much both these teams left out there.
Yes, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like I say, some of them going to be foes and some of them going to be friends. They're going to be teammates together. But, you know, it's just great. Both teams laid it all on the line. There's nothing that you can, you know, hold your head down about. You know, you lost. The team that lost, you know, you lost by 1 point. I mean, but you gave it all. You had a chance to maybe even tie it up, but, you know, you went for the juggling, you went for the win.
Whether they're teammates or whether they're opposite one another in different stages, they'll all share this moment for a lifetime when they were a part of another classic. How about a second championship in 5 years. You can condense that. It's a second in 3 years for Drew Marlowe and company. He's now standing by with Jack.
Gentlemen, back-to-back years. With this experience and this environment, your team never flinched in the face of adversity. What does this win say not only about your team, your family, but this program?
I tell you guys, our prayer all week was that the Lord would honor our work and that the result of this game, that He would be glorified no matter the outcome. And I just pray that His name is. It's absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, now I'm nervous. Just the Lord has blessed this program so much. My wife sent me a picture today. I got the job here 5 years ago. And it is by His grace and by His mercy that we're here.
Your range of emotion speaks volumes. Saw you embrace with your family. How cool is it to have them along this ride with you?
My son, Mac, he just started coming to games this year, and he's our #1 fan, man. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the way the Lord has blessed this program, has blessed me, my family. I have no words. I'm sorry. I ain't got nothing good to say right now.
Well, how about this? Low man's wearing 1-6. Let's talk about 1-7, though. That was a legacy game.
Man, unbelievable. I can't wait to get that trophy and hand it to him. Golly, he made some plays that were just unbelievable. And I'm telling you, God's hand was on us all night. Some of the things that happened tonight just don't happen. And they did. And I pray that all the honor and glory would go to Him.
A barn burner last year, you lose by 2. This year, you win by 1. Talk to me about these fans, though.
Yeah, it was great, man. Our community showed up for us, and it was great. It was unbelievable.
Coach Marlowe, Mac, appreciate your time. Congratulations. Yes, sir. We'll send it back up to you guys.
When words aren't enough, you simply stand. His team stands atop 4A once more. 2-point game a year ago. Could it have been any better? They're separated by 1 this time around. The Bruins are your champions in 4A. We'll be back to wrap it on the other side of the break.
Healthy on the outside doesn't mean much if vaping has weakened you from the inside, because the chemicals in vapes don't just leave you short of breath. They damage your lungs on a cellular level, leaving even the fittest among us weak and vulnerable to viruses. So what starts as a vapor's cough can easily turn into pneumonia or something worse. Is vaping sabotaging you? Get the facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
Thank you so much
for putting your faith in us.
We are here because of you.
It really means a lot that you've trusted us over the years.
And we'll be here for you.
I've got to meet good, hardworking people that have become my clients, my friends.
Thank you to everyone that's let us help them and their families.
Thank you, Spartanburg. Thank you, Columbia.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Rock Hill.
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid's solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorite.
My kid heard that solo!
You saying I did?
Yeah,
come on! What's wrong with
Yeah, you just had the sense he wasn't going to be able to avoid this forever. Much-deserved Gatorade bath for the fifth-year head coach of the Bruins. You know, we were told by former Bruins tonight, trust Marlowe, he's going to get the job done. His team does. Another classic between Westside and South Florence, two championship-caliber teams. You know, the last 3 championships in 4A belong to these two schools. Let's take a look at our defensive moment. Founders Federal Credit Union bringing our defensive player of the game throughout the weekend. This time it's really a play. It is the 2-point conversion try. Would have won the football game potentially for Westside. It's disrupted by Coe and taken in by Rosado. That is our defensive moment, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. That was the difference in a 1-point ball game. Well, play of the game going to be what gave the lead to the victorious South Florence Bruins. One of the many runs by Trey Leonard, but this was a team effort, Toby. Everybody involved in our Mark Brown play of the game.
We've been saying it all game long. You know, the offensive line has been the staple for them all season long, and they've been pushing it. But again, the backs, if it's not a hole there, they're going to run it in.
Congratulations to the offensive line, all those making it happen, and you probably have a pretty good idea. There was some discussion about him post-game with Coach, who the player of the game selection is going to be. And it's a familiar refrain for those in Bruins colors. This time, though, Jaden Sellers, 17, was as advertised.
It's just awesome that, you know, you get an MVP, your brother get an MVP, you're about to start playing together. He did it from receiving, you know, taking big balls, come back and put 3 touchdowns, you know what I'm saying, on the board to help your team. That's just awesome.
He is our Stanley Law Group player of the game. Congratulations to Jaden Sellers. Think about Messiah Jackson. We could go down the entire list of all these players. You know, this is a team that graduated 29 seniors last year. They graduated 25 seniors the year before. You know the level of some of the talent they lost, yet they've reloaded, and maybe the most improbable of the 3 runs to the state results in a resilient run to a championship.
Yes, it just shows what type of program you got. You know, it's just started, like I say, if you can go here in the last 3 years, you know what I'm saying, basically in a row, it just showed that it's just not all about talent. You know, it's a lot of people have talent, but you're talking about a well-coached team, a well-organized team, and that's what's going to get you to the thing. Again, it's the small thing that's going to get you there.
And he's a life lesson teacher as well as a football guru when you think about what he's done, 2 championships in 3 years, when he says, and again, it's a lesson for life and not just for football. We want our young men to do the simple things and do them better day by day. And if over the long haul you can do these simple things and do them well, it can often culminate in a championship moment. This resilient Bruins squad back on top in 4A. Toby, when you think about this 4A season, the entirety of the state championship weekend, and what this Bruins piece means to it, how do you put in perspective what we witnessed tonight?
Basically, it just showed teamwork. I mean, you had all 11 guys that had to put it in for it, you know. Not that all 11 guys don't help with a fast-paced offense or somebody just shines, you know. This was all the guys, especially the linemen up front, you know. Those guys just worked so hard. They was resilient, you know. Got a few penalties here, but they still came back and just pushed it. It just shows that, you know, a team that, like that fancy car, you know, you want it and it looks good and everything, but in the end, arriving at the destination no matter how you get there. So if you take the old dune buggy or however you need to get there, or you have to take a bus, it does not matter. The end result is just getting to the destination you want to be, and the destination tonight was a state championship.
Well, whatever type of vehicle we're in, I'm glad to ride with you.
Yes,
good to have
sir,
you alongside and
always
with this
a
entire
pleasure,
crew.
Jason.
He's Toby Cates, Jason Patterson with you. Pleasure on behalf of all of our crew to have you with us, and on behalf of our sponsors who we thank beyond words for making this type of moment possible. A&I Fire and Water Restoration, Coastal Wound Care, Will Lou Gray Opportunity School, Stewart Law Offices, Rushes, Doctors Implants, Low Country Crawl Spaces, Palmetto Pride, the Mark Brown Law Firm, Founders Federal Credit Union, Jim Hudson Automotive, the Dairy Alliance, South Carolina Department of Public Health, and Ingalls Markets. They're the reason we're able to talk to you, and you, the fans, are the reason we do what we do. Another championship moment in the books in the state of South Carolina. Much more to come tomorrow. Drew Marlowe and company deserve congratulations. South Florence had their 29-game streak snapped a year ago by Westside. They unseat the Rams, snapping a 27-game streak for Westside. And it is South Florence by a single point back atop the heap in 4A.
He's going to take it himself for a championship. A double play wins it the race.
Turn it to the end zone. What a catch. McKay, touchdown.